And on this Saturday afternoon, as they arrive at Cal Memorial Stadium, they are expecting big things in 2019 in Berkeley. Welcome to Pac-12 football, presented by Taco Bell. The opener for the Golden Bears, the UC Davis Aggies, who are a top 5 program out of the Big Sky and out of the FCS.
Welcome back. We are ready to kick off the Cal football season. And of course, the questions are on the offensive side of the ball. But when we talked to the players yesterday, there was a lot of confidence from them. So what are you looking for from them today?
Really just to go out and do what they've been doing in practice. Play good football. We're not going to be perfect, but they've been competing really hard, and I think the guys are eager to go.
Defensively, we know that you guys have one of the best in the conference. You're going to go up against a quarterback that will put pressure on this defense, Jake Maier. What are you asking of your defense today?
Yeah, same thing. There's always the unknowns of the first game. They're going to create challenges for us. I want our guys to go out there and play the way we're capable of playing. And, again, there's going to be adversity, but continue to fight through it.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks.
JB?
All right, Jill Savage down on the field with the head coach on an 80-degree day here in the East Bay. There is Garbers, and with the Aggies winning the toss and electing to defer, we should see the Cal offense first. Anthony Herron.
It's a little more comfortable at kickoff than it was the other night in Tempe when Savage and I were there for approximately 275 degrees at kickoff. It cooled off a bit in the second half, though. This is nice.
Matt Blair handles the kickoffs, a senior from nearby Moraga. And this is an Aggies group that's coming off a trip to the postseason at the FCS level in a conference championship. To get our first look at Ashton Davis. His first return of a new year. To the 15 and contact at the 20. He puts it on the deck. And UC Davis says they have it. One of the most turnover-prone teams in the conference last year gives it away on the opening kickoff.
A point of emphasis throughout the offseason, throughout training camp, on everyone's lips was to not turn the football over. One of the great kick returners in the country, Ashton Davis, running through contact. Saw the Aggies come in there stripping the ball away.
And Pat Miller, Jack Shippey on a special teams standout for UC Davis, teed up at the 21-yard line. And here is the reigning Big Sky Offensive Player of the Year and picked to repeat in 2019, senior captain Jake Maier. Alonzo Gilliam Jr., his tailback. Looked like a false start from the right side of the formation.
False start. Offense, number 6.
Carson Crawford first to move in that bunch for UC Davis. They averaged just shy of 40 points per game last season, and that was despite Anthony mustering only 10 at Stanford and 7 of those on a Hail Mary.
And Maier's a player who has a lot of freedom pre-snap. We're going to watch him, watch the defense, and make the decision of what protection to put his team in.
They start on the ground with Gilliam and a nice gash up the middle. Nearly slipped the tackle of Ashton Davis at the safety level. He's back between the chains. Second down upcoming.
And this is something they can do, throwing tempo at the Cal defense right away.
After an 8-yard pickup, they go empty. And they swing it out to Crawford with a block on the edge. He tucks inside the 15-yard line near the chains. We'll see if it's enough for a UC Davis first down.
Maier, as a reference, Big Sky Offensive Player of the Year from last season, and having him return this year, Dan Hawkins, his head coach, said, you know what, I wasn't worried if there were opportunities that would come at a higher level because of how productive he was. I want my players to be able to consider moving on, but Maier decided he was going to stay with the Aggies this season.
Now a third-year starter needs a yard on third down in the red zone. And around Crawford. He's going to throw. They've got a first down inside the 10, and they drag the tight end out of bounds. Matthew Hyman with a flag soaring at the end of the play. Hyman reputed as the fastest member of a talented tight end group.
And they do love the reverse pass.
Personal foul, face mask, defense number 97. Half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
That one called on Aaron Maldonado in pursuit. But when you get that type of action here in the red zone, it doesn't put as much of an onus on the defense normally, but as fast as the Cal defense was flowing, still opened up a first down opportunity.
Got the number wrong there was Tevin Paul, the outside linebacker, with the personal foul. So first and goal, they'll give to Gilliam. Jump cut to his left and barges in for the touchdown. So Gilliam and the Aggies convert after a turnover on the opening kick return. They grab the lead at Cal.
The point of attack on the interior went the advantage of Cal. They knocked it back. Ulonzo Gilliam, a very talented true sophomore, who's even more effective as a pass receiver there, showing his ability to run it inside.
Max O'Rourke, a senior from Rocklin, California, the place kicker for the visitors. Out of the hold of Matt Blair. And UC Davis on the road here in Berkeley. Points off turnovers to begin week 1. Pac-12 football is presented by Taco Bell's $5 triple-double crunch wrap box. By Ice Cold Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville. And by 76. We're on the driver's side. All right, welcome back to the East Bay. Cal already in a touchdown deficit. They had the most turnovers in the FBS last season. They fumbled the opening kick return, and Dan Hawkins' group capitalizes for a touchdown lead. See how Wilcox's group responds. And Ashton Davis will not get a chance to put his hands on it again. Instead, the kick goes out of bounds. And so now we get a chance to see the 20-year-old. He's been facing a very good Cal defense throughout the offseason, and Anthony, that's one of the reasons why he says he's more comfortable and in command of this offense.
I was really struck by how confident Chase Garber seemed in getting to speak with him and meet him in person this week. And there's some talent, there's some ability at the wide receiver position. We expect if they're going to take more opportunities to try to find those explosive plays, even contested grabs.
Also helps that he's been getting all the #1 reps just in terms of dress rehearsing for this outing. Brandon McElwain, Ross Bowers, Chase Forrest, all taking those reps from him in the previous year. He starts in the shotgun. Christopher Brown has earned the right to be his starting tailback. A swing pass to begin. A nice open field tackle. Now Calvin Musset out there in space with Aaron Duncan, the safety. Your impact players when Cal's on offense.
Well, Christopher Brown, he's going to get his opportunity to be the full-time running back for this offense. We'll see him not only in carrying it, but he'll have a role in their pass protection as well. And Jordan Duncan on the outside at wide receiver. Expecting big things from him this year.
No gain on that first completion as you get a look at Christopher Brown in the backfield. In motion, Ricky Walker III. Davis mugging that snap. They bring 4 and it's batted down. Connor Airy was hanging out right on top of the center and he got airborne to break up the Garber's throw.
Well, what I like about that is that Chase Garbers was decisive here, but you can see it great from this angle. There's a lot of traffic, a lot of bodies there on the interior. And Garber's certainly not a statuesque quarterback, so one of the things he'll continue to improve at is finding those windows when he knows where he wants to deliver it, but making sure he can get it around the traffic.
On third down, he needs a 45-yard line. They bring the blitz up the middle, out to Brown. Can he make a man miss? Shouldered out, shy of the line to gain, and it looks like Cal has gone 3 and out on their first possession.
That's an example there where the third down read made a lot of sense to the swing pass. He actually had the same opportunity on second down as opposed to where there were 2 linebackers converging on his tight end and a defensive tackle leaping in the way. If you complete that same swing pass 2 snaps in a row, you're likely moving the chains.
All right, now Cal has a returning punter and a good one in Stephen Coots. He's not quite right coming out of summer camp. So on longer punts, Dario Longhetto will handle the honors. And Isaiah Thomas is the punt return man for the visitors. Let's see if Thomas gets a chance off the hop. He does scoop it up outside the 20. And steals a free first down going the other way to set up his offense with the lead. 9 yards on that return. And what a season 2018 was for a UC Davis program that, I don't know if they're all the way rebuilt, but they're certainly trending in the right direction.
Well, it didn't take long for Dan Hawkins. I mean, he's Big Sky co-coach of the year for a reason, and them sharing a piece of the conference championship, making their first ever FCS playoff appearance. Won a game, ended up going down to Eastern Washington, obviously one of the top programs in all of FCS.
He had the lead late.
Right.
A quick answer from Eastern. Otherwise, they might have been playing for the national championship. Well, this man is the biggest reason why. He may not be the best quarterback in college football, but it's clear from talking with his coaches they wouldn't trade him for yours, put it that way. Mayer to the air, throws low to the outside. Incomplete to Gilliam, who's a biochemistry and molecular biology major, both of these fine academic institutions. And the Aggies really carry that out because on their student-athlete profiles, they have links to their LinkedIn pages.
Not their Twitter, not their IG.
Second down 10. They give to Gilliam. Tries that left side and falls forward for half of what he needed. Take a look at Anthony's defensive impact players for the Cal Golden Bears.
Luke Beckett up front, he'll have to make sure he stacks it up at the point of attack. That entire defensive front, they're down 3 linemen, need to dominate an experienced group from the Aggies. We've seen Ashton Davis in action already.
Mayer going quickly, needs 5 on 3rd down. He checks down, and his tailback is covered shy of the line to gain. Evan Weaver, who's leaner this year in terms of body fat, down to 235, still brings a punch.
I would anticipate Cal will leave the majority of their defense on the field here in a punt-safe sort of set on 4th and very short. Field position would indicate I don't expect Coach Hawkins to go for this, but we're going to see more fakes. We've already seen him start to do it.
Daniel Whelan is a junior punter and one of the better in the country. Nico Remigio has won punt return duties here in 2019. And he waves immediately that there will be no return. It's out of bounds. And Cal gets a defensive stop, trailing a touchdown in the first.
Hey, it's finally here. You heard anything?
Hey, cuz, we about to turn it up. He's a fan right now, mic'd up. We about to have fun.
Hey, you need a package.
One time.
Ever.
One
I can
time.
throw it, I'll catch it, whatever you need me to do. Let's go, boys.
Hey, we made it.
Ashton Davis mic'd up. He saw teammate Cameron Bynum getting in. Bo Baldwin, the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. Ashton has been Cal's most valuable player on special teams throughout his Cal career. Unfortunately, started his redshirt senior season with a fumble that turned into the first touchdown for UC Davis.
No surprise he was talking to Bo Baldwin about trying to get on offense, though. He really would have preferred playing receiver initially after he figured out he was going to have a collegiate opportunity in track and field to try and get onto the football team. Still not too bad for himself at safety.
Brown gets a handoff on 1st down through the right side. Chris Brown, 1st down yardage up near midfield. On the second offensive possession for the Bears. 13 yards on the carry for Brown, who they say has proven he's an every down back.
And the work he's put in over the offseason hasn't necessarily been focused on getting bigger and stronger as much as it has his flexibility and trying to make sure he can enhance his elusiveness.
Now this time hit in the backfield. Stops through the tackle and is stood up with a loss of 1. Of course, they lose Patrick Laird, who led the team in rushing the last couple of seasons, also led them with 51 catches last year.
They ask a lot of the running back position in this offense. Being a runner, being a pass receiver, being a pass protector, and having to know mentally where you need to go within those responsibilities.
2nd down, they're behind the chains, and Garbers rolling to change the launch point. Nearly intercepted. Connor Airy, the Will linebacker, getting to that sideline. 3rd down and long for Cal.
And the stats don't necessarily bear it out that Chase Garbers is more comfortable throwing on the run, but that's something that folks sort of underestimate how difficult it can be in the development of a quarterback, even one as athletic as Garbers. But I do think that that'll be a part of what takes this offense to another level, to have him be a threat outside the pocket within the construct of the play.
You can hear him making his check at the line of scrimmage with an empty formation. 3rd and 11. Going down the seam, and it's picked. Intercepted at the 35. Devin King with a diving play. 2 first-quarter turnovers already for the Cal Golden Bears.
There appeared to be some sort of a miscommunication between Garberts and Makai Polk. It looked like he thought Polk was going to turn his route out towards the corner at a certain point, so he floated it up into the air. Polk was still working more up the seam, floated it directly into the hands of the waiting defender, Devon King.
Effectively a short arm punt, if you will, on 3rd down with not much doing on that play. UC Davis will take over at their own 35.
Be interested in the approach here from Mayer. Whether or not he'll attack this Cal defense. 21 interceptions last year.
Carson Crawford in motion, instead on the counter, bursting through Gilliam up to midfield. It's an interesting point you make, because everything we've heard about Mayer is that he plays with a gigantic chip on his shoulder and is supremely driven. So if there is a FCS quarterback who would not blink at this secondary, he might be the one. 16 yards on the ground with Gilliam to put them in Cal territory. Against a 5-man rush, he throws middle. Now he's going to go to his tight end quite a bit today. Wes Priest is a captain, like the FCS version of George Kittle, if you will. 8 yards on that completion.
And Priest did a really nice job advancing back downhill towards the football. When you have a defensive backfield that drives on the ball as well as Cal's does.
Gilliam picks up the 1st down, as this UC Davis offense has been mostly on or ahead of schedule so far, and set up in great field position throughout this 1st quarter.
Any intermediate passes and deeper balls, that's what UC Davis is going to have to do. All their receivers, tight ends, making sure they work back towards the football.
Teron Thomas now in the backfield, spelling Gilliam. Mayer has complete control at the line of scrimmage. He'll even call plays that aren't in this week's game plan. Crawford trying to turn the corner. Got a block. A flag flies from the back judge as the tackle is made. Mark Duddy leads our officiating crew today in Berkeley.
Holding offense number 79. 10-yard penalty. Replay, 1st down.
One of the many strengths of this UC Davis offense, their offensive line that has 5 experienced starters, including right tackle Cooper Richardson, who started every game last year.
And I'm seeing respect right now at the 2nd and 3rd level of Cal's defense. Not as much stem and disguise so far. And it would indicate to me that they really respect the ability of Jake Mayer to try and pick them apart if he catches them in a situation where they're not quite lined up properly.
Defensive coordinator Tim DeRuyter told us yesterday that his group is talented enough to win every game on their schedule, but not so special that they can assume they're going to win any particular game on their schedule. Knee-high shotgun snap. Mayer's in trouble. Wall's caving in, and he's sacked. Just the negative play that this Cal defense needed. And Luke Beckett was one of your impact players.
That's what's got to happen. It's got to start and stop up front for them. Defensive line that did a nice job getting after the quarterback, but with the help of the linebacker position, of the secondary. And just knocking Jake Mayer off his spot so he can't stand tall in the pocket consistently.
Well, Beckett moving to nose so far this year. He'll pull double duty at defensive end, though. Cal's most valuable lineman. An honorable mention all Pac-12 from a season ago. This is Gilliam back in the game, and he stumbles forward to midfield. 3rd down and long upcoming. The Aggies are going to need the 27.
Got to look at Coin Dang on that one. Did a really nice job because they pinched the defensive ends there. And so in a run situation, the linebackers, when the ends pinch, the linebackers have to immediately work downhill because that's where the ball's likely to bounce. Dang getting more accustomed to playing inside linebacker here in this season opener.
The number 1 JUCO outside linebacker brought in to help replace Jordan Kanashik. Aggies going to run for it on 3rd and long and tackled outside the 40-yard line. 8 yards on the pickup. Shorten up what we would expect to be a punt for field position. A big play in that sequence, of course, Luke Beckett tripping up Mayer for the sack. Came right after a 10-yard holding penalty as well.
A lot of pressure being placed on the Bears defense. early in this game from the turnovers in special teams and from their offense. So far, they've responded fairly well.
Wheeling's first punt was a shank, less than 30 yards. He drops the nose and angles it to his team's sideline. And this will be down near the 10-yard line for Chase Garbers and a Cal offense that's yet to put up any points in the opening week. Well, Beau Baldwin has a track record of producing some of the most prolific offenses at the FCS level. So far at Cal, it has not yet translated, but they've made wholesale changes on the roster and on the staff, Anthony, to try and spark this offense.
And Steve Greatwood is going to remain the offensive line coach. He's been doing with Marcus Tuiasosopo, working with the tight ends now, Burl Toller, wide receivers coach. Nick Edwards overseeing the running back. So, same coaches, new positions, trying to make sure they're getting people where head coach Justin Wilcox feels like the most comfortable.
Garbers gives to open a new drive from Cal's worst starting field position so far today. Let's go down to the field and check in with Jill Savage.
JB, you were talking about the coaching changes, and with that, Beau Baldwin also became the quarterback's coach. So he said he wanted to be back down on the sideline after going upstairs last year. He said he wants to be able to talk to the guys, look in the quarterback's eyes and the rest of the offense, see them eye to eye, have those conversations with them. If things get tough, he wants to be down on the field with his guys.
Second down 9. Thank you, Jill. Garbers throws quickly. Brown with a stiff arm to give him a chance. Third and manageable. Here's a closer look at some of those changes they made in terms of assignments on offense. Should also point out here, Anthony, that Devon Modster was brought in to help fortify the quarterback position. Some of you are probably curious about his status. They expect him to be available soon. Sounds like within the next couple weeks. Today is not that day. But they also made very clear that Garbers won this job. This was not a Chase is starting today because Modster's not available yet. His pass deflected. And once again, Cal goes 3 and out. Roland Okansi, a senior from Hayward, defensive ends, getting his defense off the field.
It's obviously part of the scouting report for the defensive front. And just standard fare is that if you're not getting home with your rush, you want to get your hands up. But we're even seeing as linebackers step downhill, they're just sort of engaging blockers and getting into the throwing window in those situations as well.
Longhetto ready to punt for Cal from his own 2. Isaiah Thomas, the return man for the Aggies, driven back and out of bounds. Let's go to San Francisco for the first time today for a studio update from Mark Williams.
Guys, Taco Bell.
Saturday morning and wasn't ready to start a new season, trying to return the favor for a division champ out of the Big Ten from a season ago.
Similar tenor to both those teams, Northwestern and Stanford, come in the season being discounted by folks. And you look up in November and they're winning division titles.
Quick throw from Mayer down the line. They want to get Crawford involved early, and they have. But what a play in space made by that side of the defense. Jalen Hawkins, the safety and the Cheez-It Bowl defensive MVP. And the only MVP of that game was defensive, as I recall. Bowl record 3 interceptions. Aggies behind the sticks. A play fake from Jake Mayer. He unloads left side. Crawford diving to make the catch. Up to the 44 and working against one of the best, Elijah Hicks.
That's precision right there, because not only does it come out on time, Mayer able to step into the throw, but again, the receiver advancing back downhill towards the ball. You don't stand and wait on it against this Cal Bears secondary.
Still a yard to gain on 3rd down. Poindang creeping. Mayer rolling. Throws for it, and he's got it. First down, UC Davis, a yard shy of midfield.
You see the difference, JB, where Jake Mayer certainly not the athlete that Chase Garbers is, but there's a level of comfort that he has in throwing on the move. You got to be able to get your shoulders around. You need that laxity, that looseness in your hips to be able to torque the ball properly.
Back to the ground. Gilliam already with a touchdown, twisted down by his shoulder pads. And he's rolling there, Anthony, just to give himself time to allow that receiver to come open in that wide window. I mean, using his mobility with a purpose.
Right, exactly. And it's got multiple purposes to it. Not only does it cut down the throwing window where you're delivering, but also moves the launch point for a pass rush.
2nd down. Mayer over the middle. Oh, they like Crawford a lot. 5'10", a sophomore from Beaverton, Oregon. Hit hard by Dang. Crawford, a former quarterback. We've already seen him spin it.
There's not necessarily a lot of separation between the receivers and the tacklers. They're doing what they can, finding ways to mix up the rush to try and get Mayer off the spot.
Now is Cameron Good getting to the legs of the quarterback. As again, he changes the launch point. And on 3rd and short, he's going to live to see 4th down. And I imagine wants to convince his coach to go for it.
And it's worthy of consideration here. You're near the opposing 40-yard line.
It's a veteran move, though, isn't it? Knowing that he's in 4-down territory, and if it's not there on 3rd and 1, give it another shot.
And that word attack that we're accustomed to where UC Davis will normally go for it, you have to be careful against his secondary. See all the stemming, all the moving around at the linebacker position, feinting, trying to determine whether or not they will rush or they won't.
They will go for it on 4th down, and Gilliam picks it up, dragging would-be Cal tacklers, including Evan Weaver, inside the 40.
On that one, Point Dang actually was up in the opposing B gap. It was Evan Weaver with the ball cut back towards him, and Weaver actually didn't quite get downhill quickly enough. You can tell he was a little bit concerned about a play action and then potentially going for a bigger play. So you give up the 1st down, but you don't put them in position to perhaps get a touchdown.
Mayer ready for another 1st down snap. Gets it in the hands of Chris Vaughn. Vaughn weaving through the 2nd level of the Cal defense. And just outside the 20, it's 1st down, UC Davis again, 17 yards with Chris Vaughn doing most of the work.
It's funny in discussing the receivers and the way they do or perhaps don't block in space for UC Davis. Dan Hawkins and Tim Plow's offensive coordinator said we really don't bring guys in and tell them they need to worry about blocking so much, but so far in this game I have been impressed with at least the effort that the Aggies have been making to stalk block a physical secondary.
Sitting in 11 personnel here with a back and a tight end. And Gilliam switches sides to protect Mayer. A 1st down throw to the sideline, and it's too tall for Matthew Hyman. You know, they're replacing Keelan Doss, who just today was waived by the Oakland Raiders. He was the star of Hard Knocks, and it sure looked like they were going to need his services. But in some ways, the Aggies feel like they might be more dangerous offensively because they're less predictable in terms of who they're feeding.
Kind of feels like the Arizona State offense a bit, where you don't have that one receiver that everyone knows you're focused on because he's so dominant. So now you get a quarterback who can read, who can survey the defenses, as Jake Mayer's been doing early in this game.
They grabbed an early touchdown after Cal fumbled.
Those eyes right there.
The kick return. With a short clock, he's got the snap, and he's got time. Weaver arriving late and forcing the throw out of bounds. Ben Hochschreider diving in coverage as well. Keelan Doss was the first Aggie to surpass 300 receptions and 4,000 yards. If he's not going to be a Raider, I do think he'll be a pro later this weekend with Summit.
Oh, yeah. Auditioning for 31 other teams in addition to the one who decided they didn't need your services anymore.
In field goal range, it's 3rd down and 10 for UC Davis. Gilliam hitting the backfield. And that was enough to knock him off balance. Luke Beckett has made a couple of big plays behind the line of scrimmage for this Cal defense.
His versatility and energy will continue to be on display. They move the front there, so he shuts down the initial gap that Gilliam tried to get to. But because of the penetration, he wasn't able to cut it back. And look at him, even working off the block, didn't necessarily make the tackle, but did enough where the offensive lineman made it for him.
And so Max O'Rourke, who was 13 of 17 a season ago, will try from the middle of the field and 41 yards. And UC Davis has a double-digit lead at Cal. With 40 seconds left in the first, how do you feel if you're on the Golden Bears sideline right now, Anthony?
You have to preach patience, on that sideline, because a 10-point deficit certainly isn't the end of the world, but the problem is everyone knows the offense has had their struggles over the last couple of seasons. But for Justin Wilcox, he has to make sure he instills that confidence in the players on the sideline. Bo Baldwin needs to talk through with Chase Garbers how you just continue to take your profit and make sure you're putting yourself in a position to move the ball. So far, first downs have come at a premium for Cal's offense. They just need to start to move it. Even if it doesn't end in a touchdown, just start to get some momentum going.
More turnovers than first downs, to your point. 23 yards of total offense compared to 107 and 10 points for the Aggies. There were 4 FCS over FBS upsets in week 1 last season. Might UC Davis have the formula coming off a trip to a semifinal postseason game a year ago. Looks like Ashton Davis will get another chance, and he'll bring it out from 4 yards deep with a lead blocker. And a flag comes in as he spilled at the 25. Davis, a former track walk-on who eventually turned down a Cal track scholarship so that he could remain a zero-star football walk-on, and now he's the top returning Pac-12 safety.
During the return, holding return team number 53. 10-yard penalty from the end of the play. It'll be Cal's ball, first down.
Not much going right in this opening quarter for the Golden Bears.
And Chase Garbers so far 2 out of 6 in the game, only 5 yards in passing. You need to establish the identity of your offense. Both completions have been fairly lateral on swing pass type plays.
But Anthony, how aggressive can you be from inside your own 15-yard line at the end of this first quarter, already trailing 2 scores?
I think you're still in a position where you can think about explosive plays to take place here. You have to be able to trust Garbers with the protection to survey the defense.
Brown gets the first handoff, and there were 4 white uniforms there on the left side waiting for him. Kenai Lassane in on the tackle. This offensive line lost Gentle Williams, the presumptive starting guard, who started the final 3 games of last season, out for the year with a lower body injury. Craig, Cindric, Safel, Daltoso, and Curhan, the starting 5 here today. Last play of the first quarter. They'll keep it with Brown, who's got a nice lane, and a first down with a stiff arm to add to it. Perhaps some momentum for Cal offensively going to the second quarter. Makai Polk with a nice block to spring him. But it's UC Davis with a 10-point showing in the opening quarter. Pac-12 football presented by Taco Bell.
College football may never again witness the sheer dominance displayed by California's legendary wonder teams of the 1920s. Between 1920 and 1923, Cal won 4 straight Pacific Coast Conference titles and 4 straight national championships, all under the direction of legendary head coach Andy Smith. The Wonder Teams went 50 straight games without a loss between 1920 and 25, running up a record of 46 wins and 4 ties.
All right, Anthony Herron, what was your favorite part? Was it the student section and their unity? Was it the officials?
I like the student section.
The Cal uniforms were pretty good.
That's part of what earns them the great seats that the student section still has at this point. I mean, how many student sections do you see right on the 50-yard line at a football stadium?
Andy Smith voted into the College Football Hall of Fame in 1951. All right, to the second quarter we go. Cal trailing UC Davis by 10. That last carry by Christopher Brown doubled Cal's offensive yardage in that first quarter. Garbers at the controls. Brown sweeping again. That right-handed stiff arm has been his best friend. Another first down for Cal and into Aggies territory.
Makes perfect sense to me. Christopher Brown has been the main cog in their offense as they've moved it so far. Continue to feed him. At some point, it sets up a play action. Now with Brown out of the lineup, perhaps this is that.
Marcel Dancy takes his place. Garbers does give, and he pours ahead with a late flag. like he's got 6 yards if the play stands. We should point out that this UC Davis defense is missing a key piece. Freshman All-American Montel Bland not eligible today. He's their second leading tackle.
10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay, first down.
And Michael Safell wipes out that game with a holding. Michael wants his own Pac-12 network show.
I'd watch it. I'd watch it.
We've sent that memo back to San Francisco. Says he's most alive when he's making people laugh, and he got us a few times yesterday.
A lot of volume in his voice.
Yes, he projects very well, doesn't he?
Won't need a microphone when he's on camera.
And Cal off schedule here as they're backed up to midfield. Nico Remigio in motion. Can they find him? Instead, over the middle, and it's dropped. McCallan Castles, the redshirt freshman tight end and a 4-star prospect, did not help his quarterback here.
Now, it wasn't a pretty pass. It comes in kind of wobbly, but he hits him in both hands. It's right there in stride. Those are the plays where Chase Garbers, it'll go as an incompletion, but it was the proper read. He threw it on time well enough. His receivers, his playmakers, his tight ends, they need to make these plays to pick him up.
That's one thing that Justin Wilcox stressed to us yesterday is offensive improvement is about the 10 players around Chase Garbers as much as it is the quarterback himself. Dancy in the backfield as he's well protected and links up with Jordan Duncan, who fumbles. Turnover number 3 for Cal. Bryce Rogers from across the bay in East Palo Alto picks it up for UC Davis.
And this is where you get into wondering, all right, who are the older players? You know, who's the Patrick Laird type who can gather everyone together and recognize that their game needs to go to another level. Jordan Duncan he's an individual they know they're going to need to count on this season, a senior. Got a turnover from Ashton Davis, top players in the country. Turnover now from Jordan Duncan, who will likely be one of, if not the leading receiver for Cal this season.
What a phenomenal play on the ball by Nazem Messi, the 3-time captain and a rush linebacker for UC Davis. He had an interception at Stanford last September, now forces a fumble at Cal.
Challenge goes to the Bears defense. 3 takeaways for the opponent. They have to now try to match.
Mayer goes empty on first down. He was looking that way, wasn't he? The whole time locked on Jared Harrell and put it through his hands. Harrell, a preseason all-conference receiver. Cameron Bynum, the captain in the corner with him.
Harrell was the Robin to the Batman that was Keelan Doss for the Aggies last season. So one the opponents would have to pay attention to as opposed to rolling all the coverage towards Doss.
Mayer 9 of 14 this time. Will put it on the ground with Thomas and a flag at the snap. Thomas himself was all Big Sky honorable mention. They describe him as an explosive anvil who can bring the rain when he spells Gilliam.
Illegal shift, offense number 17 and number 6. 5-yard penalty, replay, second down.
So receivers Justin Kraft and Carson Crawford backing up the UC Davis offense.
Cal has tackled well so far in this first half. Now you got the opponent way behind the chains. I don't think you necessarily bring the house, but find a linebacker, whether it's going to be Dang, it's going to be Weaver. And if you take this opportunity in an empty backfield set, bring some additional pressure on Mayer.
Dang backs off at the snap. They feed Thomas. Fights hard for a couple of yards. Back above the 35. Third down upcoming. It'll be 3rd and long for Mayer and the Aggies. Third down and long. Mayer to the air. And wide of the mark. Diving effort made by Harrell, but he could not keep that left foot down and inbounds.
Made an impressive effort at it. He was dragging the foot. Well, I don't know. Obviously, Here up on this level of the stadium, they review every play. That one was close. It appeared to be a clean catch made there, and that left toe, the left foot still has the toes on the ground.
The previous play is now under replay review.
You heard the whistles, and now the announcement from Mark Duddy. They'll take another look.
Of course, as we all know, only 1 foot necessary to be down in college football. Now, from this angle, the thing that would be difficult to tell was whether or not he caught it cleanly. In live action, from our vantage point here looking from essentially midfield, it looked like a clean catch. So if he's not bobbling the ball, then it seems to me like that's something that would appear to be a completion. The problem is, upon review from the angle available that we've seen so far, you can't necessarily confirm that he didn't bobble it. We'll take a look at this. And this is what the officials are doing upstairs right now. You can take multiple angles and sort of piece the case together. We see the foot was inbounds from the previous angle, and here it appears that it was a clean catch. So in piecing the 2 different angles together, this looks to me like something where they would turn the call on the field over. It would be ruled a reception.
And if so, it'd be 15 yards and a first down. Should mention the receivers are coached by Cody Hawkins, former CU quarterback and son of the head coach. Speaking with the former Aggie fullback and the head coach, Dan, he called the opportunity to go back to his alma mater an out-of-body experience. What did he mean by that, Anthony?
Well, even for me, I've gotten to call some games at Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City. When you get the opportunity to represent your alma mater in a different way, to go back there, I can only imagine what the feeling is to be the head coach. And for him, that out-of-body experience, he'd been an assistant before after playing there in the lineage of all those who've had success and gone on and representing UC Davis. It's an exciting time for him. He's coached all over the world.
And he did point out that he feels like the program right now at UC Davis has infinitely more potential than when he arrived at Boise. I mean, a $50-60 million football facility. In his words, they are like the UCLA or Cal playing in the Big Sky.
That's a big statement. Obviously, we know the success that Boise State was having while he was there and has continued to have in the time since then.
Everyone's body language here, Anthony, says that they saw what you saw, and this is going to be ruled a catch and a first down.
It's a proper call.
After review, the receiver had his left foot down. It's a catch. It'll be Davis's ball. 1st and 10 at the 48-yard line.
With both individuals involved in that play, that's just next level stuff from Jake Mayer and what happened there with Jordan Duncan. To be able to essentially just let your feet go dead, have the left foot staying in bounds while you're focusing your upper body on reeling that pass in. And Mayer threw it precisely where it had to be to even have an opportunity for your receiver to catch it.
Harrell made a convincing case as well, the junior from Los Angeles, to keep the drive alive. Mayer asking Gilliam to change sides. Against a 4-man rush. Throws underneath and caught by Vaughn. Let's go down to check in with Jill.
While Dan Hawkins was at Boise State, he hired one Justin Wilcox as a graduate assistant. Justin told us yesterday he worked for him for 2 years. He said he's such a great football coach. He's a philosopher. He's talking to the guys about mindfulness and so many different things. He said he would be a great guy, Coach Hawkins would, to be giving a TED Talk someday.
Jill, the Cal head coach is not that guy, right? He's not the TED Talk type, he told us. Over the middle, Blake Thorpe. A fumble and incompletion. Let's see.
The initial ruling here will be very important.
Coin Dang jarred it loose, and for now, it's a Cal takeaway.
Throughout the game, they've been driving on the ball well. Dang, speedy linebacker on the spot. As the reception was being hauled in, kept himself in the proper position. Nice secure tackle. Didn't pick up any sort of even potential for a targeting penalty. Put his hat right on the ball.
Anthony was there. 1, control, and 2, a secondary act common to the game to make that a completion before the fumble.
Fine line right there. That's going to be a tough one. There's the definition of a bang-bang play. This is probably going to come back because initially it would even need to be ruled a clean catch if you're trying to determine whether or not he had actual reception and possession of the ball. It appears in the looks we're having so far and being able to slow it down a bit that he did not. You see him there initially, both hands on the ball, and he's starting to corral it and pull it in towards his body. And as he's pulling it in, you can see the ball was already beginning to come loose before Dang made the impact.
Lashin Davis told us yesterday that everyone is competing to get the first takeaway for this Cal defense in 2019 after they had 28 of them a season ago. Jalen Hawkins may have had the honor courtesy of Coin Dang, but we think this is going back to UC Davis.
Yeah, looks like it will.
What about Dang, though? At 6'6", Wilcox says he's never had a linebacker that tall, but he doesn't look out of place there. And certainly the safeties, who we've mentioned a few times, love having that in the middle of their defense to force opposing quarterbacks to get it up and down over 6'6".
Well, it's difficult when you have the amount of size, the length that Cal can throw at you in the middle of their defense. The throwing windows become even more condensed to the opposing quarterback. Dang at 6'6", I mean, an inside linebacker normally you would see guys who, you want a certain amount of size and girth in there, but 6'6" is really tall because you have to be able to get under blockers when the ball's getting run right at you. But they say he bends really well, and he's looking very natural there.
The receiver did not have the ball long enough. It's an incomplete pass. It'll be Davis's ball. 3rd down and 7 at the 45-yard line.
So a couple of reviews, both correctly go in the Aggies' favor. By the way, if you're Chase Garbers in this Cal offense, it has to feel like you're being iced, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Mayer and the Aggies have dominated the football. After the incompletion, 3rd down, 6. Mayer looking left into one-on-one. Justin Kraft could not make the catch. Elijah Hicks in coverage for the Golden Bears.
And that time on 3rd down, they decided at both corners they were going to get up into the grill of the opposing receiver, not allow free release. That gives the extra beat. You notice their Mayer had to hold the ball just a bit longer, and the pass rush began to get home.
So despite dealing with some short fields, the Cal defense has done its part. Bears about to get it back. And they find anything productive offensively. Another Aggies punt with Remigio deep, signaling fair catch. Once again, Garbers and the Golden Bears will be tucked inside their 15-yard line. Early second quarter, it's Pac-12 football presented by Taco Bell. UC Davis with a 10-0 lead on Cal. Feels like an important offensive drive, Anthony, for the Golden Bears, but they've got a long field again.
I like what they're getting so far to Chris Brown. He's certainly been the main playmaker for them offensively. You continue to feed him the ball, but find an opportunity for some play action with the success you've had on the ground.
In case you're joining us late, no Devon Monster as the backup to Chase Garbers, at least for this week. The numbers for Garbers have not been pretty, but those around him have not helped with drops and fumbles. Play action, and he's going to take it himself. Perhaps this is the spark that Cal's offense needs as Garbers gets it done on the ground. And he was their 2nd leading rusher last year with 420 yards.
The 2nd leading rushing quarterback in the Pac-12, and he's plenty fast and mobile enough to be able to have this be a true threat within their play calling.
First down snap. There's Brown working left side and going airborne for 4. Monster was one of the notable transfers into Cal. In case you were not with us when we said it previously, they expect him to be available soon. Sounds like within the next couple of weeks. In the meantime, they've got 2 backups at quarterback ready for today, and Spencer Brash and Robbie Robert. Cal trailing 10, and another pass deflected at the line of scrimmage. Jordan Franklin at 6'1", a 4th-year veteran.
I'm trying to set up the inside screen, but again, you have the defensive front, who it's definitively a part of the game plan. You can tell at this point because in certain situations like that, they're not even really attempting to rush. But normally on a screen, you want the D-line to run past the offensive line. It sets up a window. They didn't do it there.
Garbers from a nice pocket. There's Nico Remigio breaking into Aggies territory. And the consensus from the Cal coaching staff is that Remigio has absolutely taken the next step as a sophomore. They needed that from the modern day product.
It's the best pass Garbers has thrown the entire day. In rhythm and with urgency. Hit him right on the money.
Good for 30 yards, and now they want to go quickly. Sweeping with Brown. Stiff arm at the edge. Turned nothing into half the chains.
And I think if you're Bo Baldwin, don't forget about the QB portion of the run game. Chase Garbers is in great shape. He can handle that. Let him mix in a carry here.
They give Brown 4 yards on the carry. He leaves in favor of Marcel Dancy as Garbers is in the pistol for 2nd and 6. A blitz off that edge. It's picked up all day to find a target, and he found Crawford. Kekoa Crawford, touchdown, Cal. 37 yards. The Michigan transfer, a 4-star recruit, arrives in Berkeley.
He had all day to make this read. Decided not to go to the potentially covered receiver, Remigio, in one corner. Found Crawford streaking all the way across the formation. The rest of the work's done from there.
Crawford arrives in Berkeley as a redshirt junior by way of Glendale Community College, where he did not play last fall. Will Thomas with the PAT, and Cal is on the board with a 6-play, 87-yard drive capped by an airborne Kekoa Crawford.
Welcome back to Berkeley. The Cal offense has finally awakened. You're going to see a slow developing play. Kekoa Crawford's going to come all the way across the formation. 2 of his teammates are going to run off coverage, and the protection is what's the thing of beauty right here. Just a bit of play action. Chase Garbers in the pocket, as calm as can be, wide open as Crawford, who delivers the ball on the money, then leaping into the end zone over the oncoming tackler. That looked like a Power 5 major college football offensive play.
Gabe Chemyeniec with the kickoff. And here's the return from Jordan Perryman. He's down at the 20, and we go across the bay to Mark Willard in San Francisco.
Okay, guys, your Gatorade update. Here's the last attempt for Northwestern, but it is Casey Toohill who comes up with the big hit, jars the ball loose, going to dribble into the end zone. That's where Jordan Fox will fall on it and close it out. It is an opening win for Stanford by a final of 17-7. Back to you.
No style points necessary in week 1. Anthony, survive and advance, especially against a power conference opponent like that. Cal looking for something similar against the UC Davis Aggies, who have jumped out to a 10-0 start. Cal just got its first touchdown of the year, and now can their defense lean a little bit? Jake Mayer dirts that one at the feet of Justin Kraft.
Makes a big difference, JB. The average starting field position up to this point has been the 44-yard line for UC Davis, now starting on their own 20. Whereas for Cal, they've been starting at their own 22. So it's been such a longer field for the Bears to have to go offensively.
Thanks to 2 fumbles and an interception on the Cal side of the ledger. On the sweep, Karsten Crawford. First man to him, Elijah Hicks, and the Cal defense will have a chance to pitch a 3 and out here. 3rd down and a short 5 upcoming.
Davis has been 3 out of 8 on 3rd down so far.
Jake Mayer looking into a single high safety defense for the Cal Golden Bears. Officially a long 4 needed on 3rd down. They're looking for the 30. Cal brings 5 over the top to Gilliam, and it's broken up. Tevin Paul sinking into coverage from his outside linebacker spot. And pressure on the quarterback from Evan Weaver.
It's an outstanding play by Paul because that's the read you want. If you're the quarterback, you've got your running back matched up on a 270-pound outside linebacker. He floats it up as the adjustment is attempted to be made there by Gilliam. Paul doesn't turn back, try to find the ball, doesn't panic, rakes his hands up through the receiver's hands. That's precisely how you have to play it.
Daniel Whelan to punts. Remigio back for the Golden Bears. Momentum shifting to Cal's side of the field. Remigio to the left side, steps through one, and out of bounds at the 34. So a chance for Cal to tie or take the lead. Midway point of the second quarter. A former Cal quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, made a 7-figure gift to the program, and it was used to renovate the football locker room and create an Aaron Rodgers football scholarship. Wilcox has memories of Aaron Rodgers as a player at Cal. When he got here in 2003, Rodgers was just getting in, and Wilcox was in charge of housing. Remember trying to help Aaron Rodgers get situated. Now Rodgers is helping the Cal student athletes get situated in style.
It's fun in talking to Justin Wilcox about that. The main question Rodgers had was, did they like it? I think this answers that pretty well. But did they think it was cool? Did they like it? Thank you, Aaron. Appreciate it.
Much love, Aaron. Appreciate it.
We just geared up, blessed up.
Aaron, just want to say thanks, man. The guys love it. We appreciate you, and best of luck this season. Go Pack and go Bears.
Justin Wilcox told us that Aaron Rodgers has become a global brand, and he says something and gets behind it like he's got behind this Cal program. It means something. Jake Tonjes just got behind the UC Davis defense, and Garbers is suddenly in a groove.
He's throwing the ball with authority at this point. Talked about the explosive plays they want to begin picking up, now attempting them.
31 yards on that pickup. Already down to the 30-yard line of the Aggies. Rolling to his right for more. Throws back to single coverage and overshot his man. Looking for Crawford there, who already has the touchdown.
Well, when you can have the trust to go up, like 2 snaps ago when he threw it downfield to Tonjes, that's not an easy throw, certainly not an easy grab. In front of the safety, beyond the corner, and trusting that his tight end can go up and snatch it.
Big Ann, I know you're a movie buff. I thought that Aaron Rodgers dressing as Ben Stiller's Hal L from Happy Gilmore was going to be the coolest thing he did this week until I saw footage from the locker room. Second down, 10 for Garbers. Not much running room right side, but falling forward. Chris Brown makes something of it. Golden Bears in field goal range. Third down upcoming.
Half where they've already turned the ball over 3 times. I wonder how aggressive Bo Baldwin will allow his quarterback to be now that Garbers is staying into a rhythm.
This is where his legs become a weapon. In an empty set, 5 wide. A blitz coming. He tries to escape, but can only get back to the line of scrimmage. And that's one thing that the Aggies wanted to be careful of. They were okay with Garbers escaping left or right. They did not want him coming downhill out of the pocket.
That's where you see the pocket condensing in the form of the pass rush. They did a nice job. Didn't get too far upfield before just collapsing back into more of a power rush at the depth of the quarterback.
Greg Thomas, as a junior, had a long of 46. This would be 44 in the center of the field. Lefty looking at times. And after trailing double digits, Cal is back to level. 10 apiece with 7:16 to go in the half. So Chase Garbers starting to find his rhythm at the controls. And the cannon fires 10 apiece at Cal. State Farm Halftime Report upcoming. Ashley Adamson, Nigel Burton, and Davis Product. Nick Aliotti from our Pac-12 studios just across the bay in San Francisco. We mentioned the Aggie connection because Anthony's going to take us through some notable alumni. And any excuse to show a picture of Nick as a player is a good excuse, right?
Well, we're going to see whether or not. I mean, I actually haven't seen it myself. I know they exist.
Oh, it was on the pregame this morning.
All right.
It was quality.
Yeah.
It was black and white.
Oh, well, of course.
Yeah. We tried to do everything we could to find moving footage or a color picture. No such luck.
Give me a look at these. Let's see what Nick was looking like. What do you got, Coach? All right, there's Mike Bellotti. I'm not surprised by the mustache there, by the way. There's Coach. All right.
How about that?
Strapping young lad. Yeah. All the locks. Just a flow of Bo Beeson. Corner, 79-83. Of course, Ken O'Brien. The lineage of this program is something to behold. Coach Pete. His Dogs had a big win today.
And Jake Mayer, Dan Hawkins' quarterback, wears the same number 15 that Mike Morosky and Ken O'Brien did. Alums turned NFL veterans. They're very proud of their quarterback legacy the Aggies are and their coaching cradle. Teron Thomas gets the first carry of a new drive, and it seems like the tide has changed a little bit, in part because of the starting field position that you've already highlighted for us, Ant.
It makes such a difference when your offense, one, if you're coming off of a takeaway from the defense, that sudden change, you want to take advantage of it.
And now they're disjointed, a pre-snap penalty. Procedural against UC Davis.
False start. Offense, number 87. 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
Wes Priest, their tight end.
It did feel to me like Davis sort of throttled back a bit at a certain point. Oh, yeah. Evan Weaver knew exactly what was coming. He's making the call. He's right there.
Weaver's on a bunch of watch lists, but who are watch lists for, Anthony? According to Evan Weaver. Moms. That's all they're for preseason. Throw middle. Coin Dang was there on the catch. Still behind the original line of scrimmage for third down upcoming. Jake Mayer and the Aggies.
And it's a very funny line, but from an individual standpoint, he did also say he wanted to break the single season tackles record, which of course would happen later in the year, but as far as the accolades that would be associated with it, he's not completely unconcerned with accomplishment.
Long way to go for Mayer. He throws to the single side of the field, and it's caught for a first down. Jared Harrell for now. There is a flag in the area as he helps up Cameron Bynum, who is in coverage. Any chance this is OPI?
Mayer hasn't been afraid to allow his receivers to get an opportunity when coverage has still been in position.
Illegal substitution. Defense, number 90. They had 12 players on the field. That penalty declined. The result of the play is a first down.
Mayer's made a couple of big throws on third down.
And there's going to be man opportunities when you face this secondary. Coverage, of course, not bad from Cameron Bynum. It's just about the timing of the pass and the way it's delivered.
21 yards to convert. Mayer brings Justin Kraft in motion. Bears bring 4. Pressure up the middle. Mayer dodges and throws complete to Priest. Hanging on for the tackle, Travion Beck, their nickel.
Toiloa he went back door in the guard and started to get home, but again, Mayer able to move the pocket, throw on the run accurately.
Moving quickly here, Thomas the carry. Gang tackled at the 45, falls forward to the 47. Third down and 2 left.
And it hasn't been a constant, but they've blended tempos so well throughout this first half. It seemed like things slowed down a bit for the Aggies a few series in a row. Now they're featuring it again.
4 of 10 on third down as they face another. How about the penetration and the suplex from the freshman Brett Johnson? You see that wrestling background?
That was more professional than amateur in nature, but it started with knocking it back at the point of attack. When you can dominate the offensive tackle, it sets up Brett Johnson to be able to do exactly what he did right there, finish the play on their side of the line of scrimmage.
First-year man from Phoenix, the coaching staff has already told us, forget about preserving his red shirt. They're going to blow right past that 4-game limit. He's going to play and play a lot. And they need help on the nose. They're down 2 noses. Siofui Maono and Aaron Maldonado both excused for personal reasons for the time being. Wilcox carefully tells us that neither is in trouble, and Aaron is back on campus. That's the latest on the interior of the defensive line for Cal. Aggies to punt. See if Remigio gets a chance. Backing up inside his 10. That will hop into the end zone. So Aggies got the first 10. Cal has rallied to tie it. Earlier this week, some Pac-12 standouts. What stands out to you, Anthony Herron?
Utah got their ground attack going, and I was there watching Michael Turk as though there was helium in the balls at every time that he punted. Fontenot had his 3 rushing touchdowns in the second half. Always a hotly contested game to open up the season between Colorado and Colorado State. It was fun watching Isaiah Hodgins because he's a very talented player, but because Oregon State has struggled a bit, I think folks around the country don't know the complete complement of his skills.
We'll see if Oregon can put forth a star of their own. Justin Herbert and that talented offensive line against an SEC defensive front. Massive game against Auburn. Here at Cal, it's Brown on the carry. He starts a new drive with 3.5.
And with a 3-man defensive front that was there for UC Davis, I don't know that Chase Garbers necessarily checked into a run play, but that's the type of freedom where there's comfort that he now has within the system where they're going to allow more of those types of opportunities where he sees the box, where a certain bubble in the run game may indicate he can move people around and perhaps check a play.
Only 23 yards and 2 turnovers on their first 3 drives. 10 points since. And swings it out deep in the play. Jeremiah Hawkins makes one miss and has a first down. So that's not an explosive play, but it is an example of Garbers getting help from a skill position player in space.
And it was the proper read because all 3 receivers that were downfield were covered. And so not only did he throw it to Hawkins, but led him up the field so momentum could give him run after a catch.
First down run. Penetration from the edge by the Aggies. Looked like Jordan Franklin collapsing on that play with help from Roland O'Cansey. -2 puts Cal behind the chains.
Matthew Cindric has been struggling a bit at guard throughout this first half. There has been some moments of success in the run game. It's good that Cal isn't giving up on that.
Anthony Cindric is that redshirt freshman starting in place of Gentle Williams, who's lost for the year with a lower body injury. Offensive line really trying to rally emotionally around Gentle. Brown gets through the line, stays on his feet at the 35. It's going to be a long 3 left upcoming on 3rd down for this Cal offense. They received the opening kick and fumbled it, led to a UC Davis touchdown. So the visitors are going to get the ball to start the second half.
And the point you were making in one of the commercial breaks is an important one because getting that first possession opening the game, and then they know they're going to have it coming out in the second half. Well, Cal in position right here to try and take the lead going into the half. That'll be big because they won't have the ball first.
Only 1 of 5 on 3rd down to this point. With Brown in motion, Garbers against a 3-man rush. Has time to write a paper if he wants. First down, Cal.
It's great work by the offensive line. We've seen several times throughout the second quarter where Chase Garbers has had all the time in the world to make decisions, survey coverages. The run game has been going well throughout the first half.
$11 personnel on the field for Beau Baldwin and his Bears. Right on the money. And in to UC Davis territory. Trayvon Clark, a JC transfer, makes his first reception.
Some fancy footwork along the sidelines there to stay in bounds. Body contortion right there.
Davis going to take the first of their 3 timeouts with 1:41 remaining. It's become 2-minute offense now for Coach Wilcox as we go to San Francisco and check in with Mark Willard.
Okay, guys, Taco Bell update. Good first opening drive for Oregon. A decision to go for it on 4th down, and it works. C.J. Verdell from 1 yard out. He's in. And the Ducks off to a good start against Auburn, 7-0.
Where does that contest rank in terms of magnitude for the Pac-12 in recent years, Anthony?
Approximately the most important game in the history of Western civilization. Plus or minus, give or take.
Your best Bill Walton on the opening day of college football. Impressed.
Big deal, man. The Pac-12 needs it. College football world is watching what they're going to do against a top 20 SEC foe.
Set up Justin Herbert's Heisman campaign as well. From the pistol, after the Davis timeout, first down Cal. Play action Garbers. He'll leave. And get positive yardage and get out of bounds at the 40. Stops the clock with 1:32. Around the Pac-12 today, UW, a convincing win. And what a start for Jacob Eason. He's got a target in Aaron Fuller, who is phenomenal. Stanford, it didn't have to be pretty. It just need to go in the win column, and it did. Oregon with the lead. Later tonight, Washington State on the Palouse. Is Anthony Gordon the answer for Mike Leach?
I wonder if there'll be a KJ Costello health update on a halftime show.
Second down 7 for Garbers. Quick throw. Marcel Dancy spins off of 2. Dancing to the 31 with first down yardage for the Golden Bears. He can cut on a dime, according to his quarterback Chase Garbers, and we saw a bit of that shiftiness there. 8 yards on the pickup.
And plenty of time here trying to close out the first half. Still 3 timeouts for Cal. That first down briefly stops the clock. They're operating at the proper tempo.
To me, or do the Aggies look a bit winded at this stage of the half defensively? Garbers comes off his tight end and throws too high for Cullen Crawford, who was all alone.
Talking to the voice of Cal Radio, Mike Pawlowski, former Bears quarterback. And these are the passes to the point that Pawlowski was making that Chase Garbers has to make. The open ones, the easy ones, the ones that can still be within rhythm where no one's around you, no one's around your receiver.
Set a first down in the red zone with a minute to go. 2nd and 10 from outside the 30. Trips left as they'll run. Brown for a couple. Looks like Wilcox is going to take the first of his 3 timeouts. Golden Bears looking to go into the locker room with the lead. And before Wilcox could take the timeout, UC Davis did it for him. Time now for our tailgate spotlight presented by Tums.
All kinds of atmosphere, some of it new, both in stadium and outside the stadium, to the experience Bears fans have here. Ah, yes. It's my kind of pregame food.
And an 80-degree Saturday to open up a new campaign.
All smiles.
It's our tailgate spotlight presented by Tums here in Berkeley, and the students are in session. Began classes this week. Great turnout across the way from us at the 50-yard line. What a turnaround it's been in this opening half for Cal. And they move in front before the break. 3rd down, and they're looking for the 22-yard line. Aggies bring 4. Well-protected Garbers wide of the mark. Ricky Walker, his intended man.
Now he has gone back to looking more out of rhythm. Missed that one open throw, sail it over the receiver's head, and then from there, things just sort of derail.
Greg Thomas has already connected from 44 yards to tie the game. It's going to be a 47-yard attempt, which could be a career long. Final 49 seconds of the half. He drilled it. 2 for 2, Greg Thomas. A career-long 47 yards to give Cal the lead deep in our opening half.
With the way things have gone in this first half for Cal, it's a big kick for Thomas. A drive that stalled really largely because of their own doing. It sets him up for a really long field goal. It was a no-doubter.
only imagine that part of the reason why Hawkins was using those timeouts on defense is hoping to give his captain quarterback a chance to answer going into the half. 43 seconds and 1 timeout left. How aggressive can you be?
If I'm UC Davis, I throw caution to the wind. This really isn't a game that's going to affect anything they do in Big Sky play. 43 seconds remaining, and a quarterback you can trust as much as a coach can trust a quarterback. Allow Jake Mayer to go out there, try to sling it a little bit.
They go to San Diego next. What a brutal schedule for Cal this year. 5 conference road games against arguably the 4 best teams in the league starting next week. UW. Aggies look like they're going to signal fair catch. They'll have 43 seconds and will be starting from the 25. Here is that slate. I mean, you can make the case that at UW, at Oregon, at Utah, at Stanford might end up being the 4 best teams in the Pac-12, and you're away for all of them.
Going to miss Arizona and Colorado this season. If there are 2 teams to leave off the schedule, we probably want it to be 2 other teams in Pac-12 play. It feels like one of those seasons where Cal could take steps forward, perhaps be a better team overall than they were last year, but still not come out and meet that 7-win plateau that they did.
That being said, they've been giant killers. They've beaten the top 15 team in each of the last 3 seasons. Has not happened for this Cal program since the late 60s. And they continue the trend. Beat UW last year here in Berkeley. Seems like the Huskies are going to be ready to go in the Pacific Northwest next week. And a homecoming game for that man. Evan Weaver had the pick 6 against him a season ago. 43 seconds left for Jake Mayer and this Aggies offense. A play fake and a throw to Priest. The tight end from the 30 rumbles to the 36. A first down to start the drive, pending the penalty marker across the field.
Receiver downfield. Offense number 74. 5-yard penalty. Replay. First down.
It's a center, Connor Pettick.
Well, that's surprising under those circumstances because there's really you didn't run a screen pass. There's no reason for anyone in the offensive line to necessarily rush down the field. You know, any receiver who catches the ball is likely to get down fairly quickly to make sure if you pick up the first down, the clock can stop, or you get out of bounds.
So instead of 1st and 10 to start the drive, the Aggies facing 1st and 15, and they've lost time as well. Bubble screen going nowhere. How about the reaction from Coin Dang, who had it covered on a ball intended for Jared Harrell.
Number 2 of the offense has to leave the game for 1 play.
Helmet came off for Harrell.
He's been extremely active as Coin Dang in this first half. The sense he has for where the football is a part of the reason why they have the confidence, because he's been more accustomed to being an outside linebacker coming off the edge and moving him to inside linebacker. It's not an easy thing to pick up as quickly as he has.
At this point, it looks like the Aggies content to run out this second quarter. And if that is the final play of the half, they scored the first 10 to put a double-digit scare into Cal, but some composure from Justin Wilcox and his Golden Bears, who got the next 13 to take this field goal lead to the break. Greg Thomas booted 44 and 47-yarders.
QB comparison, this mano-a-mano advantage to Jake Mayer, but overall Chase Garbers had to respond. He really did so in fine fashion. Started to get that offense moving in the second quarter. Not an easy situation for him and that offense to be in for Cal.
All said and done, they outgained UC Davis in that first half, and down to the field, here's Jill Savage.
The messaging all offseason, explosive plays, protect the football. We've seen both of them, unfortunately, on the turnover side. What's the message to your guys here?
We just got to execute better. I know that's a canned answer, but it's true. I mean, we gave the ball up 3 times, and then we got to, just convert on third downs on offense and get them off the field on defense. We haven't done either of those things, and middle of the second quarter picked up a little bit, but we just haven't played real well, and we got to play better in the second half.
What did you see from Garbers as that second quarter rolled on?
Well, he did some nice things, but there's still a few plays left out there, and I know he'd like to have those back. So I think his demeanor's fine. We just got to execute better.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks.
JB?
Didn't play well, but still have the lead. UC Davis will get it first in the third quarter. Halftime here in Berkeley. We will send you now to the State Farm halftime report. Ashley Adamson and our team. Cal rallying from down 10, all 13 of their points in the second quarter. They've got a field goal lead. Let's see what Jill Savage learned at halftime.
Coach, coming off a very hot start to this game, how do you reignite that on the offensive side of the ball?
Couple big plays, you know, we got a couple turnovers, and that obviously helps us for sure. We got to get back on offense, get into rhythm. Got a couple wrinkles here. We'll see what goes down in the second half.
Defensively, what was working so well for you early?
Well, it was good. They started getting a running game going a little bit, and then got some pass protection, and we were able to throw the ball down the field. So we know the quarterback's good, and he can run. We got to give that guy a little pressure, and we got to load the box. 34 can run it.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
JB?
That's Chris Brown he's talking about, running the football. Garbers got situated in that second quarter, was much more productive. Started 3 of 8, finished 6 of 10 for 106 yards and a touchdown on those latter drives. Gabe Chemyenetz will kick off. Isaiah Thomas is deep to receive. And Thomas backing into his own end zone will take a knee. So 13 to 10 as we resume this second half. Anthony Herron, JB Long, what do you make of that first quarter? Was it just a slow start, or is it cause for concern here against UC Davis in the second half?
Certainly worthy of concern, I would say, up to this point, because consistency is what's going to really be necessary for the offense of Cal. But you did hear Dan Hawkins tell Jill Savage they got some wrinkles. I think he's specifically talking about the offense, where they are as we begin the third quarter here. And the third quarter was actually the best quarter when you look at just the point totals for Cal last season. They came out of the locker room, the offense operated at a higher level, the defense normally shut the opponents down. So I would say overall this is one where starting on their defense should be something Cal fans should be feeling pretty good about.
Big Mayer, 14 of 24 for 108 passing. He took a sack in that first half. Starts off play action, drilled as he lets it go, completes to midfield. Justin Kraft into Cal territory. Jake Mayer stood in with Luke Beckett at 295 pounds in his grill.
And that's where he's going to be willing to take the punishment, but the defense has to continue to punish him regardless of that. Make him feel you in the pocket.
So on one throw into Bears territory, and now to the ground. Gilliam carries Cal tacklers for about half of the chains. Beckett in on the tackle. Kicked off at 80 degrees on this Saturday afternoon in Berkeley as the shadows start to creep, running into them near a first down. Lonzo Gilliam, a biochemistry and molecular biology major. Here the Aggies know they have 2 downs to collect the 2 yards they need at this position on the field.
Haven't seen the Cal defense raking away, stripping away at the ball as the receivers and running backs for Davis have been finishing their carries.
Gilliam wants to run for it. Through a couple of arm tackles. First down, Aggies at the 32. Opening drive of the third quarter. They recovered a fumble on the game's opening kick and turned it into a touchdown.
It's a defense that gained 28 total takeaways last season. That was most in the Pac-12. Of course, 21 of those the interception variety.
Another solid run here for Gilliam. The 21 Savages became the nickname for that group. I mean, how about DB's coach Gerald Alexander, who I think deserves a nod here. He transformed a unit that allowed 30 touchdown passes in 2016. Now, despite having a 4- or 5-star recruit in the bunch, they might be the best secondary in the country. Mayer hasn't blinked yet, but he's staying on the ground. And what vision from Gilliam. Gets back to the middle of the field. First down, UC Davis at the 15.
And you don't normally see Evan Weaver overrun plays, but he's done that a couple of times here already on this series, where as you flow to the football, you want to stay back door on a block as long as you can. And you saw a good look at it right there, where he ran front side on the block trying to beat Gilliam to the spot. Gilliam did a nice job cutting back against the grain.
Gashed him for 12 yards and a first down. Justin Kraft from his receiver position is buried. go back down to Jill.
Talking about Alexander, he tells his secondary, don't read your press clippings. He said at the end of our day, our job is to improve every day. So there's nothing that an article or a pat on the back can do that can save us. We have to go out there every Saturday and prove what we can do. So he's not looking for this group to rely on what they did last season.
As good as that secondary is, UC Davis seems determined to do it on the ground. Not much there. On the tackle made by Evan Weaver, who isn't bashful about his goals, right? He wants 167 tackles plus one to break Hardy Nickerson's school record this year.
He's got another one wrapped up right there. And his more trim, more slender frame, I think he'll be able to go back door on blocks more frequently this year.
Third down, the full distance. Mayer climbs. He throws. It's batted down. Cameron Bynum reaching across for a pass breakup. And UC Davis will settle for a field goal try to tie the game.
It takes a level of confidence for a corner to do this, to come backside to the upfield shoulder of the wide receiver on a slant route, especially down here in the red zone. If Bynum doesn't get there in time, then you have a receiver who's essentially streaming one-on-one against the safety with nothing but that one last defender between him and the end zone.
Bynum is reportedly the technician of the back end of that defense, the secondary's player coach on and off the field. Max O'Rourke from 33. So most of the damage on the ground on that drive, and when Mayer did go to the air, that talented secondary was there to shut the door. Pac-12 football is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. With quality parts and know-how, Napa Auto Parts and Auto Care Centers can help you keep your car on the road. And by Unify, the makers of Reprieve, a founding partner of Pac-12 Team Green.
Got done helping the freshman win. Hope you guys come out and support us this season. It's a big season ahead. It's going to be a lot of big plays, big moves. We thank you guys for everything in advance. Go Bears. Bears. 100.
And senior Travion Beck and some teammates helping the freshman move into campus this week. Ashton Davis signaling fair catch. And if Beck is your fifth defensive back, you know you're pretty good in the secondary, right?
They're better men than me. I wasn't helping any freshman move into anywhere when I was an upperclassman.
Take a look at the record by year. And Justin Wilcox, 2 years in, rewarded with a contract extension this offseason. And just because he has a defensive background doesn't mean he's a defensive coach here. He's a head coach here. And I think he laid that out for us very well in our meetings with him yesterday.
He did. I basically, hey, Justin, how come the offense isn't better? You're a defensive guy. He said, no. That's basically a lazy narrative. It's my job to make sure all aspects of this team are playing at a high level.
Heard Dan Hawkins talk about this man, Brown, and what he's been able to do with that right-handed stiff arm as he turns the corner again. Good for 6 yards to begin the drive. There's an injured Aggie on the play.
Little wink of the eye. Chase Garbers. He gets the series going there.
Doesn't lack for confidence, does he? Jordan Perryman appears to be the injured UC Davis player. Corner to that side of the field. They've already lost receiver Darius Livingston to injury in that first half.
Well, you got 230 pounds of Chris Brown bearing down on you.
Must have been prior to that point in play. So trailing the running back a bit. While they attend to him, we'll take a timeout here at Cal Memorial Stadium. Early third quarter action, tied 13 apiece. UC Davis, one of the top 5 teams at the FCS level. The Cal Golden Bears looking to build off a 7-win season and a trip to the postseason a year ago. Also need to turn a corner offensively. I mean, how about the role reversal? The Bears could score with anyone under Sonny Dykes with Jared Goff and company. And they honestly had to because they literally could not tackle. And now here they are, almost the inverse of that era. They're running it well with Brown. He's got 87 before this carry for first down yardage across the 35. For Jill Savage, Anthony Herron, I'm JB Long, David Feldman, our producer, Tom Satursky, our director. Thanks to everyone on this great crew for their hard work over the last 3 days and change, going from Tempe to Berkeley to kick off a new season of Pac-12 football here on Pac-12 Network and your revamped Pac-12 Now app. Now available on your Apple TV. Special welcome to those of you watching that way today. Reversing field, Jeremiah Hawkins. Can he get one more block to turn the corner? Instead, Chris Venable was doing his job as a redshirt freshman safety.
Christopher Brown has been a much better ball carrier today. You're going to see him here try to set the edge as the lead blocker. That part didn't go so well. So now reverse field. See what you can do to try and just pick up a few yards, or at least not lose as many. Yeah, hurdling has become quite the thing in college football, really in pro football at this point too.
Another Aggie down in the secondary right before Cal was ready to take the next snap. Hopefully that's just a cramp.
We tend to see a lot of cramping, of course, early in the season. Folks have come out of training camp mode, and it's the first real game action for any of them.
Only 64 miles between campuses, UC Davis and Cal. The bus trip allows the visitors to bring everyone on the team, suit up the whole roster. An enrollment of nearly 40,000 students. Dan Hawkins really touting the academic prowess of his university, as the Bears are rightly doing here in Berkeley as well. We're still at 78 degrees in this third quarter. Devin King leaving the field, and some of those freshmen who were assisted on their move in by Travion Beck and company took him up on the offer to come support the Bears. First game of their 2019 season.
Let them move themselves. Feels character.
Garbers and the Bears behind the chains. Second down. Nice pocket to throw from. Could not find a target. So he dumps it off to Brown and takes a few.
Well, while the efficiency of the passing game has been inconsistent throughout the day, overall the offensive line has played really well. Between that and the decisive running that we've seen from Christopher Brown, that's certainly something that I think Cal, up to this point in the game, has to be excited about what they'll be able to do in building on the performance of their O-line today.
Saw Bo Baldwin there, is also coaching the quarterbacks this year. What does he want on 3rd down and 8 with the Aggies creeping? A blitz from the edge. Garbers gets away from it. A flag flies as he rushes for a first down and into UC Davis territory. Is it coming back? John Amati dragged him down. Mark Duddy leading our crew in Berkeley. Holding was his indication.
Holding, offense number 61. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay, 3rd down.
Valentino Del Toso, Cal's 4th penalty.
Del Toso at the right guard position. He's being pushed somewhat back towards the quarterback. Quite frequently, they'll let that go if the hand placement is inside and you allow the defender to disengage. Once the arms get extended and the tug down of the outside shoulder, that makes it more obvious to the officials. The defender tries to get in the hot pursuit there.
This is generally a screen or a draw or just a straight run the football situation on 3rd down and 17 from your own end. See if Garbers can get some punting positioning back. He's going to throw for it. In breaking route, incomplete to Makai Polk. No flags. Early enrollee freshman who's been a star of training camp.
That's big for the defense. Holding call, pulls it back, now 3rd down opportunity. The Aggies defense gets off the field.
Did it look to you that Polk just couldn't find the football? Wasn't a terrible throw.
It wasn't, and normally with the shaded area there, it would be where the ball's coming out of the shade into the sun, where it can cause some vision issues.
Ghetto with driving spiral punt, and it's taken by Jalen White. Somehow escapes. Now he's in space. Tripped on the 40-yard line, or it could have been even bigger. So UC Davis has tied it up, and now they've got it back in Berkeley.
John Grant under center. He'll drop back. He'll throw for the end zone. Caught! Touchdown, UC Davis! 20-17. 8 seconds remaining, and I cannot believe what is happening in front of us.
UC Davis with a 3-point lead. On the brink of what will be the biggest upset in history, and it's almost a sack. Able to get away as Ostrander. Now he's almost sacked again. Then he throws. It's a Hail Mary. It's up in the air, and it's knocked down. It's over. It's over.
That was 2005. John Grant to Blaze Smith with 8 seconds left. The difference between that particular game against Stanford and what they're trying to do here is they fell behind 17-0 in that contest and rallied back with 20 unanswered. Today they had a 10-0 lead. Now we're locked at 13 as Jake Mayer takes over from his 40-yard line after a 29-yard return from Jalen White in breaking route, caught by his slot receiver Carson Crawford. He's been a favored target. 5 yards on that pickup.
It's interesting thinking back to that UC Davis upset of Stanford, because sort of both programs went in diametrically opposed directions from there. It sort of forced everyone who cares about Stanford and his decision makers there to help turn that program around.
Mayer looking left all the way, and he spun down for a sack. Cameron Good, who's had a couple of injury-plagued seasons, has a chance to make this defense even better.
Just a blown protection. Running back in the backfield was in position to pick it up. For some reason, somehow didn't see Cameron Good. That was really his lone responsibility to pick up the loose edge rusher.
Now, he's a junior, but this is only his 11th career game. Last year, a pick 6 against UNC, but also suffered a season-ending injury. 3rd down and long. Gillian to the ground and dragged to the ground by Evan Weaver to force the punts. One other thought on UC Davis against Pac-12 competition. They've got future dates against USC in 2021. It's going to be the first time the Trojans play an FCS opponent, leaving the group that included UCLA and Notre Dame prior. And then Washington in 2025, of course, Chris Peterson starred as a quarterback in the 80s, as we already showed you earlier today.
There's got to be some video of Aliotti with a carry, something.
32 dives somewhere.
Personal protector on a punt, maybe.
Remigio retreating inside his 10, looking for a way out, and he found it. Up to the 30. What a return for Nico Remigio. And no penalty markers. So the defense gets a stop, and the sophomore receiver from Orange, California sets his offense up.
In Berkeley, the summer reading program is just as hot as the rest of Cal's fall camp. Patrick Laird might not be here anymore, but that was no issue because Mike Seffel, center for the team, took over as the ambassador for the summer reading program. He said the kids don't always have the access that they did growing up, and reading's been a big part of his life. So he wanted to be a part of that and take over. And he said kids are a little less excited when you're on the offensive line and not the running back. They don't really know who you are, but it's going to be nice because Seffel, after this game, is going to spend some time with the kids from the program.
Well, Jill, they'll know who he is if he ever does go to WWE like he's talking about. Michael Seffel in the middle of that offensive line, leading the way for Chris Brown, and 11 yards. Going north of the century mark.
Well, to go to work right there in the middle. Quick combo block. See Matthew Cindric coming off of it, working up to the second level. Well executed, opening up the holes.
Speaking of multimedia efforts by the offensive linemen, check out Jake Curhan's new podcast entitled So Stignacious. Brown snowed under in the backfield. I guess So Stignacious is where the name is made up, but the people are real, according to Jake. Of course, they would have loved to have had Gentle Williams on this graphic today. Unfortunately, he's lost for the year with a lower body injury. Still an experienced group. The question becomes, on both lines, what does the second layer look like? What if you were to take another injury? Where do you go from there? With Marcel Dancy now in the backfield, it's 2nd and 11. Garbers from the pistol, hands off. to the 45. It's going to be 3rd and long upcoming for this Cal offense. They're going to break a 13-all tie with 5.5 to go in the 3rd.
A big challenge here for Cal offensively on another 3rd and long, and that was one point that Justin Wilcox made to Joe Savage going into the locker room to be more efficient, to convert more 3rd downs. 2 out of 8 right now at this point in the game.
See if Baldwin and Garbers and the Golden Bears take a shot. They need the 46 against a single high safety look. Floods the pocket to his right. At the line of scrimmage, he turns it up the sideline. Did he get enough? A flag comes in, perhaps for a late hit. It may not matter that he came up short if this is a personal foul.
Not completely sure what the defender was thinking there at the end.
After the play was over, personal foul. After the play was over, personal foul, defense number 45, late hit out of bounds. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
I mean, just Garbers clearly down, well out of bounds, very, very late. And, you know, 45 makes the initial hit, and then there's 53, and perhaps he trips a little bit, but there's a lot of congestion and traffic and bodies landing on the quarterback very late after he's already fallen out of bounds.
Eric Flowers, who is described as the glue of this defense, even though he's not a team captain, a lot of the teammates look at him as if he is. I think it was going to be 4th and approximately 2. Instead, the penalty marked off to the 33-yard line, and now Garbers and the Bears are in business.
The last drive, a penalty after a first down, took them back out of momentum. Now a penalty extends the drive for them this time.
In motion, Gavin Reinwald, one of 3 tight ends the Bears have used here today. This is Dancy. Able to stay on his feet for a few more. The 28. 5-yard pickup for Dancy, and he puts the Bears offense on schedule.
This is a prime down and distance to maybe take a shot at the end zone. What defensively we think of as a waist down. Echoing calls to each other.
To your point, they're going 5 wide. Garbers making his check, setting his protection, now calling for the snap. Wanted to get it out quickly. Floats it over the top. Crawford tiptoes the sideline. He couldn't get in, but he's got 1st and goal. Already with a 37-yard touchdown, Crawford sets up the Bears.
We've already seen multiple examples of very fancy footwork from Cal receivers up to this point. Last time Crawford was able to stay in bounds and leap over a defender into the end zone, not quite able to stay in there.
1st and goal from the 7. Chris Brown falls to the 4.
It's been a couple of times today where Chase Garbers on that zone read look. He's had the opportunity to pull it where the edge defender bites down, going to chase that inside dive, inside zone play. If they call it again, I'm hoping he's going to take a stronger look at just keeping it and getting around the edge.
Now, UC Davis trying to substitute. They had a 329-pound nose tackle trip on his way into this formation. And that's going to force Hawkins to call a timeout. They just could not get the personnel on the field that they needed for 2nd and goal. And Garbers will head to his sideline as well. Now with the wide side of the field to Garbers' right, I was with you. I thought they might give him that mesh point again and let him take it himself. They put up 47 points today against Eastern Washington in the first game of our Pac-12 football triple header. Josiah Suwannee, a redshirt freshman from Hayward, and a nose leaving the field before 2nd and goal from the 5. For Garbers, Brown, and the Golden Bears. Garbers goes under center. Here's Chris Brown. He puts it in the paint. Touchdown, Golden Bears.
Bully ball for Cal. An offensive line has played well throughout the day. Run the ball effectively, protected the quarterback at a high level. Under center for the first time today. Walk-in available to Chris Brown.
Quite a different look that they came out with after that stoppage. They were in 5 wide empty. And like you said, went under center to come downhill. Second touchdown of the day for Cal. Now the try. Where Thomas has been solid at the start of his redshirt senior campaign. Let's get a studio update from San Francisco with Mark Willard.
Mark, you got a great set of pipes, by the way, but yes, I'm glad you pointed that out. You live to fight another day. That is outstanding hustle from the Oregon Ducks. JB, you and I were kind of looking at that moment live on the computer here as we were glancing over at that game because of the weight of the moment there. As soon as they make that tackle, they look at it and say, yeah, that could be huge if the defense stepped forward, and they did.
And Chase Garbers has thrown an interception and a touchdown today. A touchdown measuring 37 yards. Christopher Brown just ran it in from the 5. And before the kickoff, a cramp this time on the Cal side of the equation. But that highlight from the Oregon-Auburn game that we just showed you happened right after a big kick return for the Oregon Ducks that had them set up first and goal, a chance to take a big lead.
There's going to be a lot of good film in the way the offensive line performed today. We certainly got the sense, understandably so, for how excited coaches were for this young man right here, Christopher Brown, and what he could bring to the table. He showed some pop, showed some power, got the ball plenty in their bowl game, in the Cheez-It Bowl. They narrowly lost to TCU.
He plays 67 yards on that go-ahead scoring drive. This is Tigger Garcia, a senior captain, bringing it out. Rumbling across the 20 near the touchback line. It looks like they'll start from the 25. UC Davis now trailing a touchdown. It's actually Chris Venable with the return.
Still no takeaways from this Cal defense. And when you watch the film from last year, it wasn't only the interceptions. And we talked to Evan Weaver about it even yesterday, where for them in focusing on trying to get the ball away from the opponent, there's been 2 different times he's broken teammates' fingers in practice, just stripping away, raking away at the ball. I haven't seen as much of that from the Cal defense today as I anticipated.
About this formation with 4 skill position players to the boundary. First down snap for Mayer. He throws a lateral. That should lose yardage. That throw went backward.
Ruling on the field is a backwards pass, out of bounds, second down.
Right on it, partner. Biggest mistake Mayer's made all day. There's been moments where he hasn't been maybe quite as aggressive as I would have anticipated for moments in the game in the first half. But that's a huge mistake to throw an errant pass backwards and now backing yourself up inside the 15.
Lost 10 on the play. There's a close look at Coin Dang, the top JUCO linebackers in the country. Aggies go to the ground on 2nd and long, and that won't get much. So after scoring the go-ahead touchdown, can this defense get off the field 3 and out? We talked about how potent they were last year, but they got better in the second half of the schedule. You do not often see this against, in the college level, where you rack up a whole bunch of accolades in your non-conference September, then you get in the league and things kind of turn against you. It went the other way for Cal.
After October 20th, they were one of the best defenses in college football week in and week out.
Crowd getting into it as the Bears send the blitz. Mayer over the top. It is broken up on a pass intended for Justin Kraft. Chigozie Unuziam, a redshirt freshman. They like the chance to create matchups against taller targets with him because he runs 6'1".
And combined there with Jalen Hawkins to be able to come up with the takeaway. Unuziam was there on the underneath portion of it, attempting to rake away at the ball. We still saw some fight from Justin Kraft trying to get it. Then Hawkins came in with the big hit at the end to make sure it got dislodged.
So the Aggies lose yardage on the drive. That's the 4th 3 and out for the Cal defense today. They should get great field position here. Remigio coming off a big return. Can he spring another? Almost got away. are the takeaways that Anthony was referencing. Second at the FBS level with 21 interceptions and 28 total takeaways.
Some of it because of some pass rush that improved throughout the season, but a lot of times you see the opposing quarterback looking comfortable out in the open field, strolling around, and all of a sudden some Cal defender drives on the ball, snatches it away. That's what they're best at. A lot of bail coverage, off coverage, still plenty of man concepts, but not necessarily always press man. It gives them eyes in the backfield.
They shaved more than a touchdown off their opponent's scoring average last year, as Brown is starting to get some traction downhill. Just scored a touchdown, and he begins this drive with a first down rumble. Now, Anthony, I asked a couple of the members of the Cal team yesterday, especially defensively, would you cash in some of those turnovers for more wins this year? Obviously, they go hand in hand. And Brown slips some traffic in the backfield. And perhaps most notably, it was Evan Weaver would say, yeah, I trade them all for a Rose Bowl, right? But the good news is their interests are aligned. Turnovers just seem to be so variable from year to year that I'm not sure 28 is a reasonable expectation for this group in 2019, but we'll see.
But afterwards, if I'm Tim DeRuyter, that's one coaching point I come out with from this game, is that while the ball's in flight, you've seen defensive backs playing their techniques properly. I see more raking away at the ball, though, on carries.
Second down, 6 now. Again, great protection down the seam. Just could not connect with McAllen Castles. You can see why they like him as a target. A former basketball player, 6'5" target. He and Garbers have not been able to connect.
This one, when you're grading the film, it may be looked at as a miss, a narrow miss, but a difficult pass, though. He did need to drop it over the top of a defender. He had one underneath, just off the fingertips of Castles.
We talk about creating more explosive plays, though. Those are the types of opportunities you have to capitalize on. As Alex III is in the backfield and in motion. Aggies send their pressure up the middle. Garbers gets in behind it. Put it on the number of Nico Remigio to move the chains.
This offensive line's been outstanding. They run a cross stunt on the inside. Just watch. Michael Safel right there in the middle. 2 guards on the spot with him. Pick it up. Chase Garbers continuing to look comfortable.
A hitch, and he goes short to Makai Polk. A freshman gets a touch. And even though he's not listed as a starter, you get the sense he will be before too long. 9 yards to take us to the quarter break. Cal has taken the lead, and they're looking for more as we go to the 4th. Pac-12 football is presented by Taco Bell's $5 Triple Double Crunch Wrap Box. By 76, we're on the driver's side. And by Ice Cold Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville. Awesome fall day in the Bay Area as we wrap up the month of August and turn our attention to September. Pac-12 football presented by Taco Bell. Cal has the lead. Justin Wilcox and company looking for more. It has not been a perfect performance, but just being around this campus and around this program, it feels like there's a ton of momentum under the third-year head coach. Chris Brown is the tailback. He's rushed for over 100 and a touchdown. They feed him again. Nice job holding that edge. And Devin King, the corner, on the right side.
He had an opportunity to get north and south a little quicker than he did there. Cal really moved the offensive line well between the tight end and the offensive tackle. Brown ended up bouncing it outside a little more laterally than he needed to.
That leaves a yard to get on third. Five-yard touchdown from Brown gave Cal this lead. From the pistol, looks like he's got enough. First down, Golden Bears at the 26.
With the success of the ground attack led by Chris Brown getting the carries, it's hard to argue with what they've been doing as far as who's gotten the bulk of the workload on the ground. But Chase Garbers can be a real threat on the ground attack. And especially with as inefficient as the passing attack can be at times, his legs can be a real weapon for this offense.
355 yards of total offense as he rolls and throws to the end zone. Undershot, but caught off the tip. Kekoa Crawford, his second score of the day, 26 yards.
This encapsulates the day for Cal's offense. Wobbly pass, imperfect defender nearly making the play, but just enough to get the job done.
Now Greg Thomas. With a Pac-12 road opener on the horizon in Seattle. Has Cal done enough to put the Aggies behind them? Like Anthony said, a little good fortune doesn't hurt. Welcome back to Cal, where the Golden Bears have taken a 27-13 fourth quarter lead in their 2019 opener. Gabe Chemniewicz with the kickoff. Aggies are going to be tackled inside their 20-yard line, and this feels like a must-score drive for the visitors. Time now for our CDW well-orchestrated play.
Not a thing of beauty all the way through, but well orchestrated in the route run by Kekoa Crawford. Defender almost gets it, and then Crawford off the tip. The concentration to reel it in. Chase Garbers just underthrows it enough where you had to worry about it for a moment. And from there comes into the waiting, wanting hands of Crawford for the touchdown.
Gilliam starts the drive with a powerful run. Ashton Davis nearly shut it down. He's frustrated he didn't complete the tackle.
And his right arm might be frustrated with him for the moment too.
Yeah. They're going to run a replacement Trey Turner onto the field, but Davis wants to continue. There's a look at Crawford with 2 touchdowns on the day.
Ashton Davis is fun.
Empty set for Jake Mayer. Protection breaks down. Extending the play. Second upcoming. Zionde Johnson pushing him off his spot.
I'm fairly confident Ashton Davis still can't feel his right arm at this point. He goes in, shoulder right into Gilliam as the ball carrier. So he lays there for a moment because Gilliam runs through him. Big physical ball carrier. Davis gets up, runs away afterwards, just right arm dangling, but will not leave the game.
I know many of you have read Bruce Feldman's excellent piece in The Athletic about the family compound near Santa Cruz, where Ashton Davis was raised, as a loose ball is picked up for no gain. If you haven't read it yet, as Cal's trying to convince the officiating crew that they've taken over possession.
The ruling on the field is the runner was down. Third down.
And guess who's in the mix? There's Davis again. Anyway, just the quick synopsis is the great family story and how they've rallied around their father's recovery from substance abuse and the athletic career of Ashton, who once wrote for a school project that he wanted to play in the NFL, the NBA, and the MLB all at once.
The play is now under replay review. The ruling on the field was that the runner was down.
I don't know if he's going to be able to play at all of those professional levels, but he has become a top prospect in football, and that definitely looks like it's out before the runner was down.
That one's out, and you need to establish clear recovery with all those blue jerseys diving on top of it. And as you referenced in the moment, Ashton Davis ends up coming away with it. Handoff right there. Davis was the first one to start to get a hand in there. And a bunch of teammates roll in. Luke Beckett has been involved in plenty of action throughout the game at the point of attack. So after his initial fumble to open the game,
I was going to ask, how do you think he leaves today feeling if he puts one down and he picks one up? If Cal can cash this in,
he's at least back to square at that point. as an individual. Now, as a team, still trailing 3-1 in the takeaway category, which we know what pride they take in taking the ball away from the opponent at this point.
Luke Beckett right in the mix again. He's been a bright spot, hasn't he?
He really has
in that defense.
Being able to do it at multiple positions, both as a forward technique, as a defensive end, and then working on the interior over guards and centers throughout the game as well. And not only have they not been able to move him from the point of attack, but he's been able to get penetration into the backfield. That's why he was an honorable mention All Pac-12 performer last season.
The Aggies defense has taken the field, and the Cal offense was about to do the same.
In theory, like in my mind, I'm thinking, man, it's a great opportunity to give your quarterback.
After review, the runner fumbled the ball. It was recovered by Cal. It'll be Cal's ball. 1st and 10 after 33. Game timer, please reset the clock to 13-13.
Give your offense a chance, try and do something big in that attack mode. But as dominant as your ground attack has been, and as inconsistent as the passing attack has been for you, you have an opportunity to really take a stranglehold on the game here.
Aggies creeping. They send the blitz. Garbers in trouble. Punched out from behind and scooped up by Nazem Nessie. Nick Eaton jarred it loose. And UC Davis with a takeaway to keep their hopes alive.
Recovered by the defense. 1st down, Davis.
3rd and long. So ears were pinned back. Eaton gets around the left edge, rakes the ball away. Proper execution. You know you got a clean shot at the quarterback. Gets that hand in as he's chasing Garbers from behind.
If Cal could have that back from a game management situation, up 2 touchdowns, your place kicker has drilled 44 and 47-yard field goals today. Would you be a bit more conservative about playing for 3 there?
I wouldn't on 3rd and long. I think, you know, if it's 3rd and short, maybe even 3rd and medium, yes, but I feel like it's too early to completely lose aggression.
Better part of 12 minutes to go, and Jake Mayer more than capable. Goes into the setting sun, looking back. Justin Kraft makes the grab and gets out of bounds with the 1st down. Kraft, a local product who they felt like could make some plays for them today in the passing game, and he has. Mayer to the air again. Oh, what a catch. Stabbed by Ulonzo Gilliam. As Tevin Paul arrived at the quarterback.
Wow, one-handed going into the air with Evan Weaver bearing down on him. Ulonzo Gilliam is a really high-level player. He emerged for them late in the season as a true freshman last year, nearly 1,000 yards on the ground, over 50 receptions.
By far the most impressive 3-yard gain of the day. Mayer again gets rid of it as the pressure arrives, and it was nearly intercepted. Travion Beck had a good look at it.
So the player got blocked into the quarterback's lower legs.
There's an injured Bear coming around the edge. Cameron Good. It can't be again for Good, right? I mean, it just can't be. He's already had 2 seasons lost to injury. Thankfully, this appears to be a cramp.
Yeah. Especially at the angle his body was sort of contorted as he was turning the corner. Puts so much pressure on that inside leg. You got to try to keep your cleats in the ground as you're an edge rusher. See him turning and dipping the inside shoulder. All that additional pressure. Good to see him leave under his own power, get some fluids. On the bike for a moment. Hopefully he'll be back soon.
Anthony, let me take to the other sideline quickly. Facing 3rd and 7, down 2 scores. Are you treating this as 4-down territory for Jake Mayer and the Aggies?
It's a great question, and the answer is yes, from the 34-yard line.
They've had 15 3rd-down opportunities today. They've converted 5. They need the 27 for a new set of downs from an empty set against a 4-man rush. Mayer. Broken up, incomplete. What an impact Coindang is going to have on this defense.
And he waited too late. Jake Mayer had him earlier. You see him appear from the right side of the screen. Ulonzo Gilliam was matched up with ended up being one-on-one with Evan Weaver. Because he's not confident in the pass protection anymore, Jake Maier patted the ball just a bit longer than he needed to. He should have immediately gotten the ball out of his hands to Gilliam.
Cal a little late getting their personnel on to 4th and 7, and so they'll burn a timeout here, and we'll go with them. Could be the biggest play of the game upcoming.
He's had to be really precise with it. Overall, the completion percentage, not high at all. What he's had to deal with, I've been impressed.
For the Aggies to have hope here in this 4th quarter, he needs to find the 27-yard line on 4th down. And it is, that should be an interception. Jalen Hawkins came away with the football. The signal was catch. Did Wes Priest have enough of the football, enough of the possession to give it to the offense? And from where he secured it, would it be good for a 1st down on 4th?
Looked initially like Priest's hand.
Now they change the call on the field, an interception for the defense. And that's going to be nearly impossible to overcome on replay.
Priest's hand initially appeared to stay under the ball, and then from there it looked like the ball was rolling over. It's a great effort by both of them. And in the end, on 4th down, the spot would have ended up being huge for whether or not they would have given him enough for the 1st down. It really appears to me from the replays we're seeing that the ball hit the ground. Not sure how definitive it's going to be, but it looked to me like the ball was on the ground enough. It's allowed to touch the ground, but if the receiver, in this case the defensive back, has enough control of it, then it can touch the ground if they're viewing it as though it's under the control of the person trying to make the catch. So there, you see Priest's left hand is under it. Hawkins is still coming in from behind. His left arm, to me, wasn't initially in a position to actually secure a catch as he's initially raking it away from Priest. That's a great angle right there. Elbow is on top of the ball before the hand really has it. Is it definitive enough? It needs to be indisputable video evidence. To me, I'm looking at that. It looks like the ball is pretty flush on the ground.
You see Jalen Hawkins, he wants the pick. He had 6 last year. He's trying to rack up his personal and his defense's total. The truth of the matter is Cal would technically be better off. It's incomplete because they get the spot of the down instead of the spot of the interception.
And Davis is, of course, hoping that somehow, some way it can be ruled as a completed pass.
I don't see that as a possible outcome here.
No.
After review, the ball hit the ground. It's an incomplete pass. It'll still be Cal's ball going over on downs. 1st down at the 34, 1st and 10.
Hawkins is going to go tell those 21 Savages that he gets credit for one regardless. So a 4th down stop. And now Cal in a position where if they can chew up clock and yardage, if they can put any more points on the board, they should be on their way to 1-0.
Still outside of 10 minutes. They obviously continue to go with the ground attack. So look for opportunities for safe passing.
That's an extension of the running game. Nico Remigio out of bounds at the 38.
A 2-score game with over 10 minutes to go. There's still more than enough potential for multiple possessions to happen for UC Davis's offense. You see multiple Davis defenders out there stretching their calves, stretching their hamstrings, hands on the hips, getting deep into the game here. That offensive line for Cal's got to be licking their chops.
2nd down 6. Another run. Nice hole for Brown, who bounces at midfield and into Aggies territory. He's run out at the 36. A career day for Christopher Brown, the sophomore from Oceanside, California. 26 more to his total.
Well, watch him work right there. Great block leading him through from Daltoso. Will Craig collapses the entire left side of the Aggies defense. And I love the fact that Brown pressed the hole there. It initially didn't declare itself, but he ran through the smoke. He had the faith that his offensive line would eventually open that crevice that appeared.
Marcel Dancy has spelled him effectively as well. How about that run? It looked like nothing was there, and he got out the side door for another first down.
When you at least start your running angle towards the interior, the linebackers bite on that. The defensive backs start to work their way down inside as well. He's got enough speed to pop it back outside and turn the corner. And he worked to stay in bounds. That's why you saw him bring his momentum back into the oncoming tackler.
Approaching 200 yards rushing as a team. Dancy stays in. Garbers with single digits on the play clock. Clapping his hands with 4. He does get it off. Dancy waits for that hole to open. Here come the flags. Marcel Dancy has volunteered to be a coach and mentor with the Oakland Dynamites, a youth football team in nearby Oakland, taking his inspiration from Marshawn Lynch.
Number 71, 10-yard penalty, spot of foul, replay, first down.
Only the 5th penalty accepted against Cal today. Jake Curhan. We told you yesterday that his
previous spot enforcement.
His main sport growing up was skiing. Jake
Which I was thoroughly surprised to hear. Wouldn't have anticipated a hulking young man like himself would have been a mogul skier. Apparently he was. I was wondering if he was kind of a late bloomer, like maybe he was the same size as everyone else at a certain age and then blossomed into such a mammoth man like he is now. So no, I was a giant out there on the slopes.
Awesome that he and Safel both got into the elite business school here in Berkeley. Chris Brown is back, and he follows his blocks back inside the 30 to the 29. The clock will continue to roll inside of 8 minutes left to cover for Cal in their opener.
That's where the offensive line is feeling their best right now, because you can tell when you're an offensive blocker that you've established a level of dominance over that defensive front across from you. You see when those guys are getting tired. And you may be feeling it yourself as well, but it requires a bit more energy to play within that defensive front or the offensive line, all the units that they get to work in.
Second down long. Brown stacked up in the hole. All right, so on the previous drive, there was a 3rd and long, and you were okay with them going to the air, trying to pick it up. How about now, after the 4th down stop, and you're closer to 7 minutes on the clock for 2 touchdown lead?
I would advise them playing it safer this time, because now we're going to be below the 7-minute mark by the time the ball gets snapped here. If before you'd had the opportunity for your defense to take the field again with that much time remaining, it makes sense to go for more scores.
Garbers is going to try and throw for it. Drops. Remigio would have had to make at least one Aggie miss to have any hope. And so they bring Greg Thomas out, who's hit from 44 and 47.
I think a big part of that is respect being paid to the opposing offense. The amount of time remaining in the game. It was still a fairly safe pass. They weren't attacking the end zone from that far away. But there's a balance to it with this much time remaining in the game.
5th-year senior from Petaluma, a transfer from the City College of San Francisco after a couple seasons at ASU. The lefty ready to go from 44 again. And he missed it. Davis not done yet. Can Jake Mayer bring him back?
Down here on the Cal sideline, I found fan favorite Malik McMorris. What's it like being here on the sideline and not over there in the Cal bench right now?
Definitely less sweaty, not many bruises, but it's fun. It's fun to experience the fans and get to watch the game from a perspective where I'm not really too out of my emotions. I just get to enjoy the game and get to watch these guys play.
So what have you been up to lately?
I've been working out, trying to get to the XFL. I'm going to Atlanta at the end of next month to showcase my skills, hopefully, and try and get into that.
We've been standing here watching Chris Brown do his thing. What have you seen from him?
They can't tackle him. The man will not go down. He's worked really well this offseason, talking to the coaches and the strength staff, and just watching him practice. And the kid runs hard, and I mean, he's showing it today.
Well, thanks for your time. I'm sure everybody's excited to see you as well.
Yeah, thank you very much. Go Bears.
JB?
All right, and thank you, Jill. In the meantime, what was basically a busted play turned into a 20-yard pickup as Mayer was able to keep his composure and spot Justin Kraft. First down, UC Davis at the 47. From an empty set, he spins one to the sideline, looking back shoulder to Harrell. Elijah Hicks in coverage, in case you need a refresher.
A thick man, round as they come, but play that H-back, fullback, tight end position. They used him in a number of ways.
Any number 90-something scoring touchdowns is worth bringing back. Glad he's here today. 6 minutes and change left for Mayer to mount his rally. Wish we could tell you who that was with the carry, but it was a defensive back.
Body.
Algeria McGuire, who was listed as 31. We were told he switched to 30. So to the best of our knowledge, there isn't an Aggie wearing 31. But that's what happens when you can drive and dress everyone, I guess. Mayer steps up and launches. Jump ball, incomplete. Harrell against Hicks. And the junior corner from Long Beach wins that round.
Elijah Hicks, just another example of how these Cal defensive backs, they don't panic when the ball's in the air. A lot of times you'll see DBs tighten up and get really tense when they can tell the man they're covering has an opportunity for a reception. When the ball's in flight, they just stay calm, get their eyes around when it's available. When it's not available, they rake through, playing the ball through the receiver. Just a very technically sound secondary.
Daniel Whelan to punt again. Nico Remigio, the return man for Cal. End over end punt sky to the 18 and fair caught by Remigio. Let's get this fueled moment presented by 76.
Very first time the Bears got into the end zone. The play that had all kinds of time to develop. Cole Crawford on the crossing route. This allows it to develop. Chase Garbers, offensive line with the great protection, and Crawford from one side of the field to the other, diving into the paint. It's a good distance on that. A couple of track athletes as teammates, former long jumpers and such.
So 5.5 left for Garbers and this Cal rushing attack. Brown charges ahead for 11 yards and a first down.
There was only 2 games the entire season last year where Cal had an individual rusher go for over 100 yards. And out of a number of things that really aid a quarterback in the growth of a passing game, to have a ground attack be able to perform like we're seeing today, they can continue to get anything similar to this from Chris Brown throughout the season. That'll give Chase Garbers, these receivers, the passing attack in general, every opportunity to improve.
Brown's at 176 on the ground at better than 6 yards per totes as they feed him again, spinning through traffic for a few. You saw Garbers just monitoring the play clock, making sure they get the most out of every down and forcing UC Davis to start burning timeouts.
Timeout.
One of their 2 remaining.
Their second charge timeout of the half.
And Chase Garbers was telling us how much more confident he's been getting as he had the opportunity to work with the other starters.
Daltoso down, hopefully again just cramping deep in the first contest of the season.
It's been a really big day for Daltoso as well. He's played well.
Getting some removal in that running game for Brown, hasn't he?
Yeah. Done it both at the point of attack and as he's been a puller and pseudo lead blocker in a lot of situations.
Now, we heard that McCade Matoyer, a freshman from the Woodlands Texans, Woodlands, Texas, would be the next in. They're high on him too, so much that they won't hesitate to play him beyond the 4-game redshirt limit. So Matoyer gets the call to replace Daltoso. as Cal tries to churn out this victory after trailing 10-0 to start the game. Being tied 13 apiece early in the second half. Cal defense has only given up 3 points since there were 40 seconds left in the first quarter.
And it felt like there was a couple of moments there in that first quarter where I wondered if Davis and their offense would attack a bit more. They had that 10-0 lead, and they had the ball a couple of times when they were up by a score and then multiple scores. Felt like they maybe played it safe, safer than I anticipated they would under the circumstances. And Cal worked their way back in.
Off play action, Garber's rolling to the flat and caught by Reinwald. Gavin Reinwald, a first down in Aggies territory.
Well, that's a nice in-rhythm pass on the move from Garbers. Saw a couple of moments earlier in the game where it just looked like throwing on the run. He was a bit out of rhythm, not quite as accurate as you would hope. He's done it more and more throughout the game. We're going to anticipate more and more throughout the season to be able to find that rhythm of throwing for someone as fast as he is, as mobile as he is. That can be quite a weapon to have called opportunities to throw from different launch points and do it with efficiency.
Reinwald also a reminder of just how much turnover there's been at the skill positions for Cal. Their top rusher, their top 3 pass catchers, and all 3 tight ends who started last year. Brown gets that clock moving some more. Inside of 4 to go with his team in front 27-13.
We've been in 4-minute offense mode for a couple of drives now, but now officially below 4 minutes.
4-minute offense meaning?
Meaning you want to churn that clock. You've got to lead towards the latter stages of the game and lean on your ground attack, your offensive line. If you do throw the ball, receivers must know they're going to stay in bounds to allow the clock to continue to move. Now, up to a certain point, it doesn't matter as much until you get below 2 minutes where the clock would officially stop.
Marcel Dancy slipping through arm tackles. How about that determined charge from Marcel Dancy near another Cal first down. Let's credit him with 8 hard-fought yards.
It's the right mindset to be in, getting north and south. Offensive line, stick on your blocks. You've got the advantage at this point from an energy standpoint of defense, physically and perhaps emotionally a bit lethargic at this point.
Feels like Cal has this one in their pocket. One more first down should do it. Davis down to a final timeout. They bring Chris Brown back in with 180 yards rushing, an option pitch. See if he can stay in bound here. He couldn't. Did he get the first down? I think it's 4th, Anthony.
It looks a bit short. You go for this here and try to ice the game.
I think they're expecting a more wide open perimeter. I mean, they've been having such success between the tackles to even put a back out there up against the boundary was surprising, unless they really thought they'd catch the Aggies sleeping.
All right. I did see them down on the goal line get under center. They're deciding to stay in the shotgun here.
Clock rolls again outside of 2 minutes. Can they pick up 4th down and 1? Where else would they go? Chris Brown pushed the pile, seemingly enough. Davis hoping for a different answer.
The interior of the line moving just enough. Certainly felt like the forward progress got the job done. They're going to measure.
Great work by our team to get that down the chains look at the spot.
That's definitely the proper call there. Too long for a worthy field goal attempt. And you're up by 2 scores, so the risk if you don't get that 4th down isn't as great because you still got a multi-score lead. So it's not like they can drive down and 1 touchdown would either tie the game or take the lead for the opponent.
And that should clinch it. How do you feel leaving the stadium today if you're the Cal Golden Bears with an opening win over the Aggies?
Like there's work to do. There's definitively work to be done. Defense did what you would hope it would do. If anything, Tim DeRuiter would come out of here and say we had opportunities to perhaps get more takeaways, not just deflections, but to get the ball from the opponent, both carries and passes. There's a little bit of meat on the bone for the defense still, but offensively, certainly some growth you want to make in the passing game, but you love what you did on the ground.
From the pistol, Garbers mishandled the snap. And suffice it to say, there aren't many scenarios where you can win at Washington turning it over 4 times next week.
Timeout Davis, the third timeout of the half.
I think emotionally the response that your team had after trailing by multiple scores against an FCS opponent, and opening home game of the season where your focus has been, let's create explosive plays in the passing game. Let's not turn it over. You did neither of those things early on, and your opponent gets out to a multi-score lead on you, but they responded. And those are the things from a positive standpoint that Justin Wilcox is going to feel great about, by the fact that his team didn't lay down, they didn't crumble under the pressure of expectation.
Defense as advertised for the Bears here today, but they'll take it up another notch against Jacob Eason and UW next week in Seattle. 7:30 the kickoff. Our friends on FS1 will have it.
Certainly it'll be a much tougher task for Washington's offense against this Cal defense than what they faced today against Eastern Washington. But for what Jacob Eason was able to do out there on the field today, 4 touchdown passes.
Take this snap with 1:38 left, and the Aggies cannot stop it. Brown to the corner and did well to get down before he hit the sideline, giving up yardage as he did.
And Garbers under center there.
Scored a touchdown off that earlier,
right,
didn't they?
They need to take the risk of an errant snap. In a number of ways where, especially in the passing game, where some opportunities were missed that you felt like you would have had an opportunity to complete, whether it was an errant pass, a drop ball. There was a lot of things that were self-inflicted. So you can come out with those coaching points to say we actually were just a hair away from executing this at a really high level.
Another burst from Brown and a determined finish near the line to gain. It'll be 4th and short upcoming. Brown nearing a 200-yard rushing performance. Into the 30s in terms of carries. Quite the workload.
Oh, yeah.
Wilcox said he's a true number 1, and the distribution bore that out today, didn't it?
There won't be any reason Cal's going to take to the road headed to Seattle not feeling confident after what happened last season. The defense that knows they can perform against that offense, certainly a bit of a different animal at quarterback.
With 1 on the play clock, back to Brown. And it'll be a turnover on downs to finish this one. Stops on 4th down as the gun sounds. 27-13. The Cal Golden Bears win their opener against a top 5 FCS team in UC Davis.
Imperfect passing game, not poetry in motion. With the run game, they should feel really good about what they did on the ground. They had high hopes for Chris Brown coming in, like you said, nearly 200 yards from him as an individual on the ground. Plenty of film to go back. Nice moment there, Dan Hawkins, congratulating Brown on his efforts today.
Let's go down to the field. Jill Savage has a special guest.
All right, Chris Brown, 148 all last season on the ground. Almost 200 yards here today. How was that performance for you out there tonight?
It was all right. We left a lot of money on the field, and it's the first game, and we're yet to play our best football.
Looking at this offense, everybody talked about how much confidence there was from fall camp going in here. It took a minute for it to get started, but it did get rolling. How was it out there knowing that you guys had that confidence in your back pocket?
It felt great, but at the end, it just comes down to our coaching and what we're coached to do and what we've been trying to do.
So what do you take from this to move on to next week?
We're going to gather up all our mistakes and keep on moving forward.
Right, congratulations.
Thank you.
JB?
All right, thank you, Jill. And as for the aerial attack, Chase Garber's maybe not the sharpest performance that he was looking for, but he did throw a couple of touchdown tosses. Kekoa Crawford